Tucson, Arizona. Baseball in the desert. It's Cactus League play this afternoon, and a gorgeous afternoon at Tucson Electric Park. They've been lining up outside. Cub fans, yeah, I got my cards. The Diamondback fans, well, they're sporting their sunglasses here this afternoon. Baseball action coming up. Spring training baseball from Tucson Electric Park. This afternoon, it's the Chicago Cubs taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. John Shambi alongside Rick Sutcliffe and Steve Stone. A season ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks lost a major league high 111 games. Injuries decimated them. For the Cubs this spring, injuries have been a large part of the story. And Steve Stone is somebody who's followed the Cubs a little bit the last couple of years. What's the prognosis here in 2005?
It was a disappointing year last year, and now it's a year of changes. Gone Sammy Sosa and Moises Alou. That's 74 home runs. They still have plenty of power, especially at the corners in the infield. You've got Ramirez and Lee. They're each going to hit 30-plus home runs, and Garcia Perez having a magnificent spring. The question mark is the pitching. And obviously with Wood and Pryor getting better, Joe Borowski now out, there's going to be some problems with the bullpen. The uncertainty will determine if the Cubs can supplant the St. Louis Cardinals. So it's going to be a whale of a year for the Cubs.
Arizona Diamondbacks spent a lot of money. Rick Sutcliffe, no Randy Johnson, but a lot of people like this team to contend in the West. Why?
Isn't that amazing? They lost 111 games last year. They lose Randy Johnson over the offseason, but now they're contenders. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it was a complete overhaul from opening day a year ago. Luis Gonzalez is the only one back from that starting lineup. They added two of the top line pitchers in Vasquez and Ortiz to anchor that starting rotation. They got solid up the middle defensively with Craig Counsell and Royce Clayton. But to me, the number one reason this team can contend this year is the guy they added at third base. The MVP of the World Series a couple of years ago, Troy Glaus, seems to be healthy again.
Worth noting, these two teams will square off opening day, April 4th, in Arizona at Bank One Ballpark. This afternoon, the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, the first pitch is coming up after this.
MLB 2006. Nothing is more true to the game. Rated E for everyone.
Uh-oh, not good. Okay, boys, time to go to work. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go.
Want to keep your car looking pit crew perfect? Introducing DuPont Teflon Car Care products. When you use DuPont Teflon wax, protectant, and tire shine, dirt, mud, and grime have a hard time sticking. So your car practically keeps itself shiny. DuPont Teflon Car Care products. A miracle of science from DuPont.
Legend tells of a lost cargo that could have changed the course of history. No one believed it would ever be found. But one man knows that nothing is impossible.
I finally have the proof.
On April 8th, the adventure is heating up. Sahara.
I don't think we can fix this thing.
Rated PG-13. The quest begins April 8th, only in theaters.
Perfectly tuned, the all-new Boxster. Porsche, there is no substitute.
ESPN2 Spring Training Baseball, brought to you by PlayStation 2. Live in your world, play in ours. And DuPont Car Care products with Teflon Finish Protector for a clean and shine that really lasts.
Back here at Tucson Electric Park, Cubs and Diamondbacks this afternoon. Let's go down to the fourth member of our crew, Gary Miller, who's standing by with Cubs pitching coach Larry Rothschild.
All right, thanks. Larry, you're supposed to be getting ready for the opening of the season. Then Joe Borowski goes down to join Wood and Pryor, but things are looking up for Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor. What's the latest?
Well, Kerry's going to start tomorrow and seems to be doing very well. We hope to get through 3 innings and 45 pitches, and then from there he can really build up quickly. But we want to get him through that first time out again, healthy and ready to go. So we should be in good shape with him. He's handled everything and had no problems at all. So hopefully he's ready to go when we get home April 8th.
What about Mark Pryor? He threw on the side yesterday, and today, no after effects?
No, not really. Felt good today again, so we'll increase the intensity tomorrow on the side and then see how he reacts to that and hopefully get something going either with a sim game shortly after that or get him in a game.
Okay, thanks a lot, Larry. Guys?
Time now to take a look at the Chicago Cubs lineup. And as we look at it, a season ago, 7th in the league in runs scored. Steve Stone, Corey Patterson got to get on base.
Well, career highs in home runs and RBIs, but from Patterson, they're thinking about on-base percentage, and they want to cut down those 168 strikeouts, let him make some contact, and take advantage of his great speed.
Today, they will go up against the left-hander Sean Estes, a sinker baller, as you take a look at the numbers.
15-game winner a year ago for the Colorado Rockies, has always pitched well against the National League West, is where, of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks find themselves.
Sinker ball guy, so we'll see the ball in play on the ground a lot today, correct?
He's got that big curveball, too, when he needs that strikeout.
Corey Patterson has hit better against lefties over the course of his career than righties.
First pitch of the day, Patterson shows bunt, takes the strike, and we are underway in Tucson.
This is a young man that prefers to hit in the middle of the order, but in the Cub order, he's got to lead off when he plays.
Swings and misses there, and quickly in an 0-2 hole.
Rick, if you can pitch in Colorado, can you pitch anywhere?
Yeah, no question about that. And Estes found a way to do that last year, going 8-2 at Coors Field.
Got him on 3 pitches, and Patterson down on strikes. So Sean Estes making short work of Corey Patterson as we take a look at the Diamondbacks defense.
John, you want to improve your pitching. A lot of times you can do that just by getting better defensively. 43 errors combined last year for the D-backs at the shortstop and second base position. Royce Clayton a year ago led the National League shortstops in fielding percentage, and we've known Counsell for a long time.
Talking with the Diamondbacks, they believe that this double play combination is going to mean victories for a staff that has some sinker ballers.
If Perez cuts and misses, Sean Estes looking sharp.
Estes has a real good sinker. Brandon Webb has a very good sinker. When Vasquez is right, he'll throw ground balls.
Estes ready to go. Here it is. Nafi Perez getting a chance to play short today. Obviously, Nomar Garcia-Parra will be the everyday shortstop. He's been killing it this spring.
Got 6 home runs so far.
Foul off first. Tracy. He's got it for round number 2.
Stoney, you talked about the home runs that got away over the winter for the Chicago Cubs with Sammy Sosa and Moises Alou, but they're going to get a lot of offense out of that infield, in particular the guy you just mentioned, having Garcia-Parra healthy.
Well, take a look around that infield, and I think that's one of the strongest aspects of the Cub team. Because you can find guys to hit the ball out of the ballpark at all 4 positions. You don't find a whole lot of teams that have that.
There at least scorches one into center, and Cruz puts it away. Hit hard, but right at the center fielder. And the Cubs go 1-2-3 end of a half inning. No score in Tucson.
This is what only 5 pounds of body fat looks like. 5 pounds. How much extra body fat are you carrying around every day? 20? 40? More? This is propylene, clinically proven to reduce body fat, and so powerful that its active ingredient was issued a patent by the United States government for weight loss.
It's like a miracle. I cannot believe it, you know. People, they don't even recognize me.
All you do is take a pill, and the fat just comes off.
I didn't do anything different, and I took it and I lost weight.
Call now to try Propylene risk-free for 30 days for only $29.95. If you don't see amazing weight loss results, send it back and we'll refund your $29.95. But wait, it gets better. Call now and we'll include a second bottle absolutely free. Call in the next 10 minutes and your shipping and handling is also free. That's right. Call now and your second bottle and shipping is free. That's an additional $40 value. Yours free when you call right now.
Tonight at 7:30, Kia NBA Shoot-Around. At 8, the NBA's leading scorer, Allen Iverson, and the 76ers take on the red-hot Pistons. Followed by the Mavericks, led by new head coach Avery Johnson versus the Warriors. On ESPN2, at 8, the NIT, Davidson meets Maryland. And at 10, Memphis battles Vanderbilt. It's all on ESPN and ESPN2 tonight.
No score here in Tucson as we check out the Diamondbacks lineup for this afternoon's game. See Craig Counsell leading it off, but a team last in the majors in runs scored, and Sean Green should help, Stoney.
Well, Sean Green had a great second half last year for the Dodgers. He's happy about the move. He's off to a slow start this spring, but veterans don't care about the numbers in spring. They want to get the at-bats. Sean Green, one of the key members of this team because he swings the bat from the left side.
Angel Guzman on the mound. Good-looking prospect, spent last year bouncing back from shoulder surgery.
This is a guy that's going to spend some time in the minor leagues this year, but there's no doubt he's going to be a major league pitcher. He had his labrum repaired. He's throwing the ball exceptionally well. That fastball at 93, 94. He's got a very good straight change for a youngster, and he's one of the crown jewels of a very productive Cub organization.
Craig Counsell starts it off, takes a strike. And 0-1 to the second baseman. Back in Arizona after some time in Milwaukee. The 0-1 misses, and it's even up. Counsell with that unique stance.
You know, and Guzman with that unique fastball. Stoney, just watching him around the batting cage during BP today, this kid just really seems to have come around. I mean, he acts like he belongs in the big leagues now.
In the air, right center. Burnitz is there. 1 away.
A couple of springs ago, he really opened a whole lot of eyes in spring training because he looked like a major leaguer, and then he had shoulder problems, but he's back now 100%. And talking with both Larry Rothschild and Dick Cole, they said that his fastball is exploding again. This guy that just needs a few more innings in the minor leagues before putting it all together.
The guy behind home plate, Henry Blanco. I think of him, I think of a winner. He was with Atlanta a couple of years ago, last year with the Minnesota Twins. He's going to be the backup catcher for the Cubs. He's going to catch Mark Pryor the majority of the time. But already Dusty Baker was talking about how he has helped Michael Barrett, their everyday catcher. Dusty was saying that he's talked to him about calling a game, and, you know, reminded me that Michael Barrett's only been catching for 4 or 5 years now. He came over from Montreal. A lot to learn in a short period of time, and Blanco's one of those guys that can just help that learning curve.
Blanco, a guy who was actually a third baseman in the Dodgers organization, he was converted. Late swing from Clayton, laced foul.
Cubs are going to go with two catchers this year, and I believe they're going to go with 12 pitchers as they come out of spring training. I think one of the keys to their team is the health of Michael Barrett. Last year he had a great year for them. He's still improving behind the plate. And you're right, Blanco can do nothing but help Barrett, who's gotten better and better in blocking low pitches. This is a tough staff to handle.
Just missed. Clayton and Counsell will help the defense, and they'll hit 1-2 in this order. They're going to need to pick it up offensively because they just really struggled to score a season ago.
Couldn't hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And there's a base hit up the middle, so with 1 out, a man aboard. And we'll get our first look at Luis Gonzalez.
I know you never threw a hanging curve set, but that was a hanging curve. They usually come right back at you if they don't leave the park.
Well, I think being 23 had something to do with that, because Guzman, he threw that 0-2 pitch and he thought he had strike 3. Whether he did or not, he didn't get the call, and he showed some emotion there that you don't like to see out of a young guy. A home plate umpire doesn't want to see that. Well, that emotion might have led to the mistake he made, putting Clayton on first base and bringing some power to home plate.
Luis Gonzalez, who shut it down early last year to have that surgery on the elbow, Tommy John surgery. Don't see it much from the position players.
Well, Louis is just starting to throw the ball now from left field, and the National League is going to test him to see if that arm is entirely healthy. They're going to run and run and run every chance they get on Louis, but he says he's coming back. He's feeling a whole lot better, and he's a big bat in the middle of the lineup.
Well, Gonzo will be the first to tell you to get his arm back to where it was before he hurt it. He doesn't have that far to go.
Bob Melvin told me before the game he's going to start playing Gonzalez more and eventually get him to back-to-back situations, but they're being cautious with playing him in the field. Tapper to first. Lee is there. And he'll just put the glove on Gonzalez. That's out number 2 as Clayton makes his way to second.
As they remade this Diamondback team, and Rick, you mentioned the opening, they lost 111 games, and nothing really worked well for them last year. The big unit had a big year, but he's in pinstripes these days. But they knew it had to start in the middle of the lineup, and so a big commitment to Troy Glaus. 4 years. Will he stay healthy enough? They're hoping so, because he can hit along with Gonzalez and Green. Those 3 guys will be a constant in the middle. And the Diamondbacks believe they can produce enough offense to make this team a contender, which would be an amazing turnaround.
So our first look at Sean Green. Guzman deals. He's outside.
I watched the first game that he hooked up against Randy Johnson, and you know Randy Johnson can intimidate some left-handers. Sean Green, the first 3 times up, rifled the ball into right field, was 3 for 3 with 3 singles against Johnson.
Guzman at the plate.
He had a lot of pressure on him when he put on that Dodger uniform. Steve, we were talking about it before the game. You know, just a lot expected of him, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
They gave him an enormous amount of money, and he said at some point it was a distraction. He's a very quiet young man who just as soon go about his business and then have a distinct family life away from baseball. And he feels Arizona will be a great place for him.
The 1-1 misses down and in, and Guzman's falling behind. Guys, I got to figure Bank One ballpark that is a hitter-friendly ballpark. That should help Sean Green. Fly balls should be leaving the yard.
You look at his career numbers at Bank One ballpark, and you know why he wants to play for the Diamondbacks. He's always hit well there.
The pitch.
Well, right along with that, to me, that's what makes Troy Glaus an MVP candidate. He's going to love hitting in Bank One ballpark, and if he stays healthy, which he looks to be healthy with the numbers, already 16 RBIs this spring for Troy, not playing today, 3 for 4 yesterday against the Angels with 3 RBIs.
On the outside corner, and now it's filled up.
I don't think there's any doubt that Troy Glaus is going to hit. And right now, talking to the folks around the Diamondbacks, he seemingly has no ill effects from the shoulder surgery. He's making all the throws that he has to make. The problem is his reaction to the ball off the bat at third.
Got him swinging. Guzman fans Green. And Clayton is left on base. End of 1 in Tucson. No score. Cubs and Diamondbacks.
Get the Edge cutting system now and give yourself a John Deere yarn for a long, long time. Get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
So, here's the one you saw on Cars.com. It's silver with alloy wheels and a bed liner.
Give me 5, man. Up high. Can you bird it? Can you do the bird? Can you do the bird?
Find the right car for you. Cars.com.
I can upgrade my mower and my neighborhood status.
You can at the Home Depot, the only place you'll find the absolute best names in power. Ryobi, Toro, Honda, and John Deere. Nobody beats our guaranteed low prices, and no one else has the know-how to make your hard-earned dollars work even harder. The most powerful brands at the most unbeatable prices.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
When you're a star like me, you get treated differently. This is my ID. Look at this. They've even taken the shells off for me.
Even my independent insurance agent spoils me.
John, with Drive Insurance from Progressive, I can customize a policy for your car, motorcycle, RV, even your boat.
You are embarrassing me.
Actually, I do it for everyone.
Yeah, I get it.
Everyone gets taken care of with Drive Insurance from Progressive.
Get the Edge cutting system now and give yourself a John Deere yarn for a long, long time. Get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
The beautiful Catalina Mountains here in Tucson, Arizona, Tucson Electric Park. No score as we go to the top of the second. The Cubs and the Diamondbacks. Jeremy Burnett's set to start it off for the Cubs, and he is the guy that will take over out there in right field. Stoney, will he be sprinting out there and waving at the bleacher fans?
I think it's unfair to really make Jeremy Burnett's the next Sammy Sosa. He's going to do what he can do, which is pretty good. He's going to hit 30-plus home runs. He's also going to give the Cubs a lot better defense and more speed in right field. He's got a very good arm, and I talked to him before the game, and what he said was he's working on swinging at strikes. That's always a good thing for a hitter.
Burnett should give him some power.
This is kind of a funny matchup here. Teammates a year ago, Estes and Burnett. Estes talking about there's one guy who was going to drill today. It was Burnett. Burnett walked up the home plate, started digging in with that back foot.
Ball hit hard on the ground. Counsell knocks it down. And there's one away here in inning number 2. Let's take a look at our projected opening day lineups presented by 2K Sports, focusing on the Chicago Cubs. We mentioned 7th in the league in runs scored a season ago. How do you like this lineup?
I think the lineup can produce a whole lot of offense. And talking with Chris Spire, the new third base coach, he said Walker and Garcia-Parra working great in the middle. He thinks the double play combination is going to be much improved. And the lineup is going to be missing the home run bats of Moises Alou and Sammy Sosa. However, if the guys at the top get on, I think Garcia-Parra is in line for a huge year. He looks entirely healthy, and that man can just flat out hit.
Collinsworth bounces it to first. Tracy will take it himself, but quickly there are 2 away. Guys, for the Cubs, last year 7th in the league in runs scored. The year before 9th. The year before that 11th. And if there's a common thread, problems in getting on base. 11th, 13th, and 12th in those same years. That's something that's got to change this year if they're going to score more. Just get more guys on.
Well, it goes right along, John, with what Burnett was saying. You know, swinging at strikes. There were a lot of strikeouts. There were a lot of base running mistakes made last year, Stoney, as you well know, by the Chicago Cubs. But I think, it's obvious. The key to their season comes down to Wood and Pryor. 43 starts a year ago. If they don't start 60 ball games, then I do not see the Cubs contending in the Central.
Well, good news out of both camps, because both guys are starting to feel real well. Kerry Wood's going to start tomorrow. That makes everybody associated with the Cubs happy, because this is a guy for a while that looked like he wasn't going to be ready to go when the bell rings. As it turns out, he's going to be. In fact, he's going to pitch the home opener. And as far as Mark Pryor, he's throwing now, and the pain is going away. So if they get both of them back, this becomes a very strong starting rotation. But you're right, 60 starts plus, they're going to be in good shape. Last year they didn't get it, and the Cubs still won 89 games and almost made it.
Estes gets Macias, and that's that. Sean Estes, 6 up, 6 down, and a couple of strikeouts. End of 1.5 in Tucson. No score. Cubs and the Diamondbacks.
If you do your best thinking in the shower, imagine how smart you'll get under the new shower heads at Holiday Inn Express.
Proving that my client is innocent.
Case dismissed.
5.
Next.
I'd like to patent the dog talker.
Nice hair.
Holy. Deficit's gone, Mr. President. Terrific. Which accounting firm are you with? Oh, I'm not an accountant. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
You feed the lion?
Yep.
You feed the emu?
Yeah.
You like the cages?
Push to talk from Verizon Wireless is great for quick exchanges. Have you seen the lion? And on the same phone, you can make regular cellular calls on the nation's most reliable wireless network.
Bird store.
I need another emu. Now buy our exclusive LG VX 4700 and get up to 4 free. 2 ways to talk from Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Good.
Can't ignore Friday's new sizzling chicken and shrimp. It's just one of our 6 sizzling platters. Everyone could use more Fridays. I'm going in.
How active are your kids? Well, the more active they are now,
the more likely they'll have higher self-esteem and a healthy mind and body in the future. That's why it's so important to encourage your kids to get at least 60 minutes of physical activity a day. Take your love of sports outside. Shoot some hoops. Kick the ball around. As long as it adds up to 60 minutes a day. So get your family moving every day, anyway.
Last of the second, no score. And for the Diamondbacks, it'll be Jose Cruz Jr. to start things off. Against the right-hander Angel Guzman, who gave up a single his first time. Cruz, who was acquired in February for Casey Fossum, he'll play center field, and he should help offensively.
He's a Gold Glover in right field. And, Rick, I think you would at least say that center field probably is a little easier to play than right field in San Francisco.
And when he signed, he was a center fielder. One of the best college hitters of all time. He's another one of those guys that he just needs to swing at strikes. The power is there. The speed is there. The combination to put together a big year is there. But for some reason or not, this kid has just not gotten it done.
Some guys are always tagged with that potential. And somewhere along the line, potential has to translate into performance. And Cruz has been very good at times, but not quite as good as people expected. They remember his dad, one of the all-time great hitters for the Houston Astros. And his son probably has as much talent. He just hasn't been real consistent because he's got a very big strike zone, a nose-to-toe strike zone on occasion.
The 2-1. In the air center field. Patterson chasing back. Patterson looking, and that one is out of here. Onto the grass out there in right center field, and Cruz will touch them all. The Diamondbacks with a 1-0 lead.
There's that potential right there. Patient to get the count in his favor. Didn't even act like he thought about swinging at the first 3 pitches, but on the 2-1 fastball, we know it's a good fastball from Guzman. You make good contact, it goes a long ways.
Cruz getting the congrats. Here's Chad Tracy.
Here's a kid that can hit.
Well, they talk about Chad Tracy the same way offensively as they talked about Lyle Overbay, a guy who doesn't have to pull the ball to be successful. He can hit the ball and a line drive gap hitter to all fields.
The other thing, guys, besides being able to hit, he is multifaceted. Not only can he hit, but he can hit wearing a microphone, which he is doing for us here this afternoon. Let's go down to Gary Miller standing by with Javier Vasquez. Gary.
Guys, thanks. And Javi just came back. He had to go give a little congratulations to another new member of the Diamondbacks, Jose Cruz, on that home run. Javi, when you were named opening day starter for this year, how much did that mean to you with this new team?
It meant a lot. It's always an honor to be opening day starter, and we got 5 guys here that I know we're going to do our jobs and hopefully get this team to the playoffs.
How pleased are you to be back in the National League where you had your best success?
I'm very happy. I'm glad that for the opportunity that I had in New York, I learned a lot over there. The experience I had, it was great, but I'm very glad also that I'm back in the National League.
How much do you week to week? The first time out, you may throw 2 innings. You're building up your arm strength. Now we're getting a week and a half from opening day, and you're lining up to where you're going to start. How much more emphasis do you put in each appearance? Your next one will be Friday.
Yeah, well, at the beginning, you just try to get more of your pitch count up and your rhythm. But once you get like final 2 or 3 starts during the season, you kind of want to get your pitch count up like to around 80, and the final start probably like 100, 110. So you'll be ready to start the season, and you kind of the last couple games maybe you kind of concentrate more on what you want to do during the season.
Javier, obviously in Montreal there was a lot of obscurity, not a lot went on there. You had a lot of success with that team. Then you go to the Yankees where there can't be any more spotlight on you. Then you get traded for Randy Johnson. I mean, how does that affect you?
It doesn't. I'm just here to try to do my job. Like I said, in New York, it was a great experience for me, and just come here and I got traded for one of the best pitchers in the history of the game. So that's not too bad. So. Like I said, I'm just here to try to do my job and get the team into contention.
Okay, thanks a lot, Javi. So far this spring, things are going great in the Diamondbacks uniform, John.
Now, Chad, Tracy a stolen base, his first of the spring. Back to Vasquez, though, with the Yankees, the performance uneven. He had some mechanical flaws, though. Just wasn't able to get it straightened out, flying open a lot, had trouble staying close.
He was okay the first half of the year. Actually made the All-Star team, but it was the second half and then into the postseason where things got away from him.
There's a base hit to left as Hollingsworth collects it. Tracy will stop at third.
I'm a big fan, Stoney, of Javier Vasquez. I remember what he did with Montreal. He was a guy, he's pitched in 3 opening day assignments for Montreal. That's nothing new to him, and I expect a big year out of him.
What I like about him, along with Russ Ortiz, is you can almost take it to the bank that they're going to pitch 200 innings. And if you have a suspect bullpen, and that's one of the big problems, you look at the projected starting rotation, and we don't know yet if it's going to be Halsey or Gosling. That's a battle along with the catching position. But if you can stay out of the bullpen, and that's going to be one of the soft spots for the Diamondbacks, you're going to be in pretty good shape. And the 2 guys at the top will keep you out of the bullpen.
Coy Hill, the catcher, up now. Takes a strike. Guys, as far as the pitching a season ago, 14th in the league in ERA for the Diamondbacks. Does it concern you, though, that they have the top 3 guys in walks issued on their staff? You have Webb, Ortiz, Estes. They were 1, 2, 3 in walks issued.
Well, I think the fact that they have tightened up their defense is definitely going to help Brandon Webb. They were getting 4 and sometimes 5 outs an inning before they were able to retire the side. You turn a double play with Counsell and Clayton out there, these guys will throw more strikes.
If you have a suspect defense, you just don't want to throw the ball around the plate very much. And now they've got a very good defense all the way around and some guys who will consistently throw ground balls. Ortiz not one of them, however. He's a fly ball pitcher.
Hey, you talk about the idea of being afraid of contact. You hear that said, and that's something that ultimately can lead to walks, right?
Well, if you kick around enough baseballs, the pitcher, being human, is going to try to strike a whole lot of people out, maybe more people than he should. And instead of trying to get a guy to hit the ball early in the count, you try to make the perfect pitch with every pitch, and you wind up 2-0, 3-1 a lot.
Swing and a miss from Hill, and it's even 2-2. Guzman gave up the home run to Cruz to start the inning, and now back-to-back singles to Tracy and Cintron.
John, we talk about Henry Blanco and calling a game. Right there's a perfect situation. He's a little frustrated. The homer, a couple of base hits, a 2-1 count. A young kid most of the time will rear back and throw as hard as he can. Blanco put down a changeup. Now he's got a chance for the strikeout.
Coy Hill in a battle with Chris Snyder and Kelly Stinnett. Only 2 will be kept.
Well, Kelly Sinnett's going to be the backup, and the loser of the battle between Coy Hill and Chris Snyder is going to go to AAA because they're both young kids. They want them to play every day. Good opportunity for 2 if you can keep it on the ground.
2-2 just missed, and now it's filled up.
Well, you'll get an idea here what Henry Blanco thinks is the best pitch for Angel Guzman, because you need a ground ball. You want to limit the damage. You'll give up the run for the double play. And if that changeup is right, you'll either get a strikeout or a ground ball out of it.
And a 3-2. Fights it off. They'll do it again.
Hill came over from the Los Angeles Dodgers, part of the Steve Finley trade. I had an opportunity last year at the All-Star break to see him playing in that Futures game. And you could just tell right then and there that this kid was going to get a lot of big league time.
We always love it when the catcher's a switch hitter. Both Snyder and Hill young and both pretty good defensively. And another 3-2. Got him looking. Nice pitch.
Maybe that last fastball was all set up by that 2-1 changeup. It got him back into the count. He missed with the 2-2 pitch, but Stoney just absolutely perfect hitting that outside corner there to get the out he needed.
And Blanco framed it very well. You know, you mentioned something between innings, Rick, about late movement for a pitcher, and I think a lot of times guys fall in love with the radar gun and the readings. What does late movement give you as opposed to the radar gun, which just shows you speed?
It's just one of the 3 things I think you have to have to pitch in the big leagues with your fastball. You need deception. Some people have it, some don't. You need velocity. Not everybody has it. Or late movement. This kid has a chance to have all 3, but that is a mistake right there. You work so hard to get the first out. You got the pitcher coming up, and what do? You lay a fastball right out over the plate. You let him make contact, and now you're back to the top of the order. You're in trouble.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, is going to go out to the mound as Estes dunked that one in.
You can see that Blanco wanted it on the outside corner, and he got the outer third of the plate. So Sean Estes helping himself. The Diamondbacks with a 2-run lead, and we'll keep an eye on Corey Patterson because he had a bit of a stomach virus, and they don't expect him to go a long time in center field. So far, he still is in the ball game. And a short chat by Larry Rothschild, who stayed behind to watch a few of the Cub pitchers throw this morning in Mesa, and made the long trip down here to Tucson to watch the game.
Larry Rothschild, the Cubs pitching coach, the most respected pitching coaches out there.
Well, to me, their bench coach is one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball, that being Dick Pohl, who had a lot to do with a young Greg Maddux getting his career on track.
Counsell up for the second time, takes a strike. He flied to right his first time. It ties in with your point earlier. Late movement. I don't know that there's a better example of a guy that succeeds with command and late movement than Greg Maddux.
He had velocity when he first got to the big leagues, as Sony, you and I both well know, but not so much anymore. But nonetheless, you can still count on him winning 15 games.
Well, he came up at 6-14, and his fastball moved the same way with every pitch. He would try to get it into left-handers, he would drift back over the plate. Then, being the smart guy he is, he came up with a cut fastball, and now hitters don't know what that fastball is going to do. Maddux has had a Hall of Fame career.
Counsell drives this one to center. Patterson back, puts the squeeze on it, and that's out number 2. Cintron will advance to third.
There you go. I think another reason Larry Rothschild went to the mound, we talked about the shoulder problems for Guzman in the past. They don't want to take a chance on hurting him again. Already activity down there in Dusty Baker's bullpen.
They expected him to go about 5 innings today, and they certainly didn't want to see him throw over 75, 80 pitches. And sometimes you have a laboring outing, and sometimes you have a real easy outing. This has not been an easy outing for Guzman.
First one to Clayton is the strike. Guzman rated by Baseball America as their number 4 prospect. As you see Wellemeyer getting loose in the pen.
Yeah, but who gets excited now are those young minor league kids, Stoney, that came over just to take the trip down, you know, in that backup slot. They know that if he comes out of the game early, they got a shot at getting in.
Especially in a game where you're getting toward the end of spring. You know what guys are going to make it, what guys aren't. There's not a whole lot of question marks right now as far as the Cubs are concerned. With Joe Borowski lost for at least 6 weeks with a broken bone just on the throwing wrist above that little bone that sticks out
by that line drive,
and that really puts the bullpen into a situation where one guy's going to make it that didn't think he was going to.
Guzman had 0-2. And that one punched foul as Lee ranging to his left.
This will be a big outing for Todd Wellemeyer when he comes in the game because he hasn't thrown particularly well. Michael Wirtz has added a changeup. He is throwing well. John Lester, who had a very good year last year, is throwing well this spring. Those two guys look like they're going to make it. The question for Wellemeyer is, can he turn it on late in the spring and stick with this club? They're going to use Ryan Dempster in the starting rotation, at least to begin with.
And the 0-2. Outside. Guzman's been working hard. 40 pitches, 25 this inning. Blanco holds it there the extra second. Couldn't get the call from Ramon Armendariz, our plate umpire.
We were waiting for you to say that first.
I know you were. We drew straws before the game, and I lost.
How would Harry Carey have pronounced that one, Stoney? Or would he have even tried?
He would have called him the R-Man, which is what he did with Mark Grudzielanek when he called him the G-Man. Let's get tired of saying it.
I think the hardest I may have ever laughed at a baseball telecast was when Harry was announcing the duo between Hector Villanueva, who was trying to hit, and Fernando Valenzuela, who was on the mound.
I had him phonetically spell out Villanueva, and I went over it with him time and time again, and eventually he said it enough where he just started calling him Hector for the rest of the year.
This makes it easier being on a first-name basis, right?
Well, that and having Sundberg, Sandberg, and Sanderson on the same team.
Guzman deals. And that one gets past Blanco, but it was fouled off.
Blanco wasn't sure if contact was made or not. Took off coming back to the screen. I like that. I like that kind of hustle, not trying to play the catcher's position and also the umpire as well. There it is again here. Royce Clayton knew right away that he touched it. It's the reason he didn't take off. The call was made by the home plate umpire, but you take a look at Blanco. He wasn't sure. You know, don't anticipate. He went back there to get the baseball just in case there was a chance to make that throw to first.
Yeah, because if Armendariz doesn't call it that way, oh yeah, you gotta go get your hands on the baseball.
It's like that ground ball down the third base line. Catch it and throw it to first. Let him make the call.
Clayton turning in some kind of at bat here. Fighting off pitches.
This is what you expect out of a number 2 hitter. A couple of things that will come into play. Now, Counsell isn't the fastest leadoff hitter, so Clayton's not going to have to worry about hitting down in the count too much, but he will have to hit and run. And you also, in a situation with 2 outs, you want to battle the pitcher to keep it alive for Gonzalez, who, if all things go well with the top 2 hitters, Louis is going to drive in 100 runs again.
Louis hoping to get a chance to hit here in the second. The pitch. And it's even up.
Come on now.
Guzman getting a chance to start today. Kerry Wood will start tomorrow. They're hoping that Mark Pryor will be able to go April 12th against the Padres, which would be the first time they need a 5th guy. Going off the fist. And Perez collects it onto first, and it's out number 3. But the Diamondbacks get a lift from Jose Cruz Jr. As he leaves the lot, they add another 2-0 into 2.
With the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver. The Lone Ranger.
Television.
Honey, now wait a minute. Now wait. I can explain nothing.
It started out simply enough.
Small step for man.
A cathode ray.
One giant leap for mankind.
Classic characters. And a nation transfixed. A box that serves as a portal.
So ends a nation divided.
A window.
As the wall comes down.
And a mirror. And as it evolves, we follow its every move. Loyal to the end. With top-ranking customer satisfaction, 100% digital quality picture and sound, and a commitment to providing the very best TV experience, it's time. It's time to rethink TV.
Perfectly tuned, the all-new Boxster. Porsche, there is no substitute.
Brenda, I'm gonna need a have it when I get back. Here, use easy button. How can I help you?
I need something that ends in -er.
Staple-er.
No.
Paper.
No.
Office chair-er. Wireless USB adapter.
Yes!
Need great service? Use your easy button. Staples. Our staff will help you find exactly what you need and get you on your way.
Thanks. You.
Staples. That was easy.
ESPN2 Spring Training Baseball, brought to you by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. And Staples. That was easy.
Now we go to the third at Tucson Electric Park. Diamondbacks leading the Cubs 2-0. John Sciambi, Steve Stone, Rick Sutcliffe, Henry Blanco facing Sean Estes. And a ball ripped to left. Gonzalez over to pick that one up. He does so on a bounce. Blanco, big turn. He'll hang on a leadoff single. First hit of the day for the Chicago Cubs. And it'll bring up Cody Ransom, who's getting a chance to play second base today.
I'm sure manager Bob Melvin paying close attention to that ball down the line. Luis Gonzalez getting to it. Henry Blanco's not going to turn that into a double with anybody out there, but a nice strong throw right on target from Luis Gonzalez.
I think Louis was sending a message there by overthrowing the cutoff man, throwing a one-hopper to second, that his arm is feeling pretty good because he hasn't been throwing a whole lot this spring. Obviously, getting the ball one hop to second. There's a lot of scouts watching these teams now, and don't forget, these two teams hook up to start the season.
Estes deals. There's a strike. Gonzalez coming back from Tommy John surgery. Tony Womack last year with the Cardinals able to play second base, coming back from that same surgery. Gonzalez to get a chance to talk with Tony about the rehab for it. Is obviously shorter for a position player than it would be for a pitcher.
We were shocked that Womack came back as well as he came back. It was a big year for him and of course for the Cardinals, but he said all along he would be ready for opening day last season. Not a whole lot of people believed him, but there he was, and he was one of the catalysts for a very potent Cardinal baseball team.
They're going to need an offense this year from Gonzalez, a team that struggled to score last year, struggled to hit home runs.
Yeah, absolutely no power, John, as you mentioned. Only 615 runs scored. I guess they took that memo from Sandy Alderson about speeding the game up a little too serious.
Put a whole lot of pressure on the pitching staff, along with a very leaky defense. They knew if they were going to make a run at it this year, they were going to have to make drastic changes.
So third, could be two. There's one. There's two. Around the horn, 5-4-3, and the pitcher Guzman will get a chance to hit. See Bob Melvin. Two main decisions that he's got to make: a number 5 starter and as well the catcher spot, whether it will be Hill or Snyder. They said those decisions aren't going to come till late in the spring.
I think they're very pleasantly surprised with how well Hill has done defensively. Hill gives you a switch hitter. Snyder gives you more power. Snyder might be a better catch it and throw it guy, but Hill's really improved behind the plate. So this is a big battle, and also the battle for the number 5 starting spot. Those two places, although they will be announced late, that's where the competition is right now.
The 0-2 from Estes. Drops the curve in there, got him looking, and his third strikeout of the afternoon. Coming up, we'll be joined by the manager of the Chicago Cubs, Dusty Baker. 2-0 Diamondbacks ended 2.5.
NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues through April 5th on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
We were the 101st Airborne, the first ones in. For 8 days, I watched my men killed and be killed. We weren't just soldiers, we were brothers.
Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30. Rated M for mature.
Diamondbacks lead it here in the bottom of the third. We're happy to be joined by the manager of the Chicago Cubs, Dusty Baker. Dusty, for you this spring, been tough injuries. Wood and Pryor dealing with that. Now Borowski is gone. How have you dealt with it?
Well, hey, you know, you don't have a choice really. You just try to figure out a way. Fortunately for us, you know, we're pretty deep in pitching, and you know, Borowski, you know, is the most serious one. Carey will be pitching tomorrow. You know, hopefully Pryor will be out there pretty soon. You know, throw a pin or a simulated game or something. But you know, it's better to have it happen now than during the course of the season, I guess.
Hey, Bake, he's not on the trip, but I want you to talk about your third baseman, Ramirez. This is quite a talent, is it not?
Well, he is, and I tell you, this guy was a talent before we got him. I mean, you know, he was highly coveted by many teams. You know, everybody used to malign his defense, but I mean, over here he's been great. He's worked hard. You know, he's made himself an outstanding third baseman. Everybody knows he's a run producer. But you need a run driven in. You know, Ramos is the man.
And Dusty, obviously you lost a whole lot of power at the corners. What's it going to mean to this team to have a healthy Nomar Garciaparra, who's hitting everything in sight this spring?
Well, he certainly is. I tell you, I mean, this guy can hit. I mean, he doesn't waste any time either. You know, if he can get to it, he's going to whack it. And you know, hopefully he can offset some of the offense that we lost. You know, via losing Moises Alou and losing Sammy.
Big Zambrano on the mound opening day. No concern there, I guess.
No concern. You know, Big Z is ready, and you know, he actually wanted to move up in the rotation. He really didn't have any idea he was going to be the open day starter. But I tell you, this guy's getting better. He's real young. He's still learning how to pitch, and you know, he has that good, hard moving fastball, and plus he comes right at you. You know, he doesn't waste a lot of time on the mound, and you know, he's easy to play behind.
Dusty, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
All right, see you later.
Dusty Baker, skipper of the Chicago Cubs. It'll go Zambrano, Maddox, Dempster, the first three for the Cubs this season.
And then it'll go Wood, Zambrano, and probably Maddox in the first three at Wrigley Field. They're not going to need a number 5 until maybe the 12th, 13th of April.
Gonzalez pops it up. Blanco having some trouble, but he puts it away.
One of the guys that we didn't talk about, and you talk about that infield, which as far as the Cubs are concerned is going to produce a whole lot of offense, but that guy at first base, Derek Lee, makes everybody in the infield that much better, and certainly helps out a pitching staff that still was tough to hit last year, despite the fact that Wood and Pryor weren't at their usual dominating best.
And Lee certainly helps from the standpoint of Zambrano and Maddox get ground ball outs. They use the sinker, and obviously the grass just a touch thick there at Wrigley Field.
Plus, he can pick any throw from anywhere at 6'5", long arms, and very, very soft hands.
Yeah, just a very good athlete. Derek Lee, a guy who was recruited to play baseball and basketball at the University of North Carolina.
He was talking last year about his favorite part about putting on that Chicago Cub uniform was the fact that he didn't have to face the guys in that starting rotation that we were talking about. They're going to be outstanding if they just get Kerry Wood back and hold off on Mark Pryor until he is at 100%. I mean, people forget Ryan Dempster was an all-star just a couple of years ago. He seems to be completely healthy. Glendon Rush, that's an outstanding option to go to, a left-handed guy. Maddox, you know what he's going to do. Zambrano.
That ball is laced in a fair ball, and that's going to get down towards the corner. Green on his way to second as Burnett digs it out. And Sean Green with a double with one out here in the bottom half of the third.
This ball out over the plate, and it's up. And most left-handers love to hit the ball down. For Sean Green, he got a fastball to his liking, hit it in a perfect spot. And with the play in front of him, he could see it all the way in the corner. You don't have to worry about any coaching at all. You just coast into second.
Well, the coaching that's going on right now is Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach for the Cubs. He has got activity already again up in that bullpen. The end of the day, not far away for Guzman.
First one to Cruz, misses.
This is a day for Angel Guzman where he hasn't had the kind of control that he's shown most of the spring, and it's really cost him. He's fallen behind. This is a much better hitting Diamondback lineup.
There's a swing and a miss.
I've seen in this ballpark, and we were here last week, the ball carries so very well to the right side of center field and down the line and right. It looks to me like if there's any wind at all, it'll take the ball out very easily that way.
And the 1-1. Swing and a miss. He delivered his last time.
Well, you talked about it on the ball to green. It was elevated. And again, that 2-1 fastball was up in the strike zone. I don't care how hard you throw. You can't throw in that location at this level. What I'm impressed with about Guzman, I didn't realize that his straight changeup was as good as it is.
That's one of the things that sets him apart from a lot of youngsters. That fastball was always good. It always had the late movement, but he's refined the straight change. He's got a real good curveball to go with it. But the straight change is one of his best pitches.
Dug out by Blanco. He had the surgery for the labrum in 03, and last year they just played it cautiously with him, pitched an A-ball, double-A, and then they shut him down in early August.
Well, that young with that much talent, the last thing you want to do is overextend him. And the same thing is true this year. They don't want to see him get much over 150, 160 innings. One of the reasons why he's going to start in the minor leagues. Also in the minor leagues, you can pretty much dictate when he pitches, how many innings he pitches. Keep a close eye on him, watch his progress, because the Cubs envision that Angel Guzman is going to be in their starting rotation. It's going to be in the not too distant future.
Here's a payoff pitch. In the dirt and dug out by Blanco. So first and second, one away, and it'll bring up Chad Tracy. The Diamondbacks on top here at Tucson Electric Park.
Here comes Dusty, and Rick, you might have been right that they're not going to go too long with Guzman. They want to make sure that he is entirely healthy, and today he just hasn't had real good stuff.
Well, and it's obvious too, Stoney, there's one thing he needs to work on, and that's the fastball command. The potential, again, here comes that word, is obviously there, but the command of that number one is not yet.
Now Guzman out. Going to be Todd Wellemeyer coming in. So Wellemeyer will replace Guzman as Baker makes the change. Tonight, ESPN2's coverage of the NIT, presented by Jordan, continues with 2 second-round games. First at 8 Eastern, the Davidson Wildcats take on the Maryland Terrapins. Then at 10 Eastern, Vanderbilt meets Memphis. The NIT, presented by Jordan, tonight on ESPN2. How you doing? back here at Tucson Electric Park, and Todd Wellemeyer will take over on the hill. Guzman a little shaky. He's been pretty good this spring, but today was inefficient with his pitches.
Well, I think sometimes what happens with youngsters when they know they're not going to make the ball club, and I think Guzman feels that way, Rick, you just don't have as much adrenaline. Today he missed with a lot of fastballs, and when he did have to come to some pretty good hitters, he was wild in the strike zone, as they say.
Yeah, and I think it's a situation with Guzman where there is so much talent there that takes him out of the equation of possibly making this big league team out of that bullpen. I mean, this kid's a guy that could be a 200-inning guy, a 200 strikeout guy, and a big winner. They're going to send him down. He's going to get his regular work. And Stoney, as we all know, that number 5 starter in the month of April, he's only going to get 2, maybe 3 starts anyway. You send him down to the minor league level, let him get his 6 starts at that level. If somebody were to go down, or John, you need some help, you got a pretty good option.
It's a pretty good insurance policy, and now a critical outing for Todd Wellemeyer, because he's in a battle for the bullpen, and quite frankly hasn't thrown quite as well as he would like this year. You see the numbers last year. He showed a pretty good changeup, a very good fastball, but an inability to get a third pitch over the plate. Now, he told me that third pitch was going to be a curveball, but apparently so far this spring he's had some problems. And Rick, you know from training in Arizona, curveball pitchers here, it's a little bit tougher on them. The ball doesn't break quite as well.
Yeah, you might save that for when the season starts right now. You got to come down here and go with the fastball changeup. You just look at the rotation on that curveball. If it is there, the movement will be once you get the season underway.
Now, Guzman had to work hard today, 58 pitches. Tracy lifting that one down the left field line, and that's going to fall for a hit. Perez will pick it up. And Green will stop at third, Cruz at second. They're all loaded. That one just fell in there.
Well, we talked about the wind blowing out toward right center. What that did was take a ball that normally would have been a foul ball and blew it back into fair territory. So this ball's fouled off. Even Tracy felt it was a foul ball, but he got caught by the elements and it turned into a base hit.
You see those flags right there, left to right with the wind. That thing probably would have had a chance to make the seats, or at least pretty close. I mean, that's how hard the wind's blowing here. So Cintron will get a chance to hit a single his first time, loaded up with one out, and the Diamondbacks already lead. This one is hammered to right. And Burnitz will watch that off the bottom of the fence. Green is in. Cruz on his heels. He'll score. It's a 2-run double for Alex Cintron, and the Diamondbacks lead it 4-0.
Cintron is going to make this team as one of the backup infielders because of his versatility. He can play 3 positions, and as you saw there, he's got a little pop. So a 2-run double, he's 2 for 2. Certainly staking his claim to utility role. And so far, all well with the Diamondbacks. Not so with the Cub vaunted pitching.
Still only one out. Willamette trying to find his way out of this mess. Coy Hill will get a chance to hit. Struck out looking his first time. Nice play by Lee's coming home. And now they got Tracy hung up. And they get the one out there, so 2 away.
Good play by Blanco because he knew that with 2 guys at the bag, you're going to be able to get one of them out. There's no reason to even throw the ball because he realizes that Coy Hill is not going to go to second. He doesn't have the speed.
As you said, a good play by Blanco, but how about how easy Derek Lee made that play look? He was in at the corners. That was a rocket hit down the line, and in between hop, he came up with it where a lot of guys don't even come up with, and he acted like he expected to come up with it. He made the perfect throw. Blanco with a lot of time and a chance to stop the scoring right there. That ball is, I mean, that's down the line. Look at how quick he gets it. He gets his feet set, a chest high throw. All right, there's that second out. Let's try to get one more.
So runners at the corners now for Estes. And a strike in there. Derek Lee, when he came up in the Padres organization, actually played a tiny bit of third base. So his ability to throw the baseball over there at first, well documented. You know how good the hands are, but he's got a very accurate throwing arm and a good one. Council picks it up, flips, or I should say Ransom picks it up, flips to Perez. And the Diamondbacks add 2 more. We'll go to the 4th, 4-0 Arizona.
Keep up with the trading in the U.S. markets. Preview the start of the day ahead in Asia and in Europe, all at the same time. With live coverage from our headquarters in New York, Tokyo, and London. You don't have to miss out. Get the global view you need to make your business decisions. Watch the Bloomberg World Financial Report, only on Bloomberg Television.
Think you can't get high-speed internet at your house? Think again. Directway is high-speed internet by satellite. It's super fast, instant internet access available anywhere in the continental U.S. All you need is a clear view of the southern sky. Directway means faster connections, faster surf speeds, faster everything. And it won't tie up your phone line. Sound good? Flip to channel 227, and I'll tell you all about the high-speed internet option you've been missing. It's a no-brainer. Channel 227. The faster, the better.
Call now.
Watch me! Ving Rhames is Kojak.
You lie to me one more time, I'm gonna smash your face in.
I got soul! A USA original series.
I'm super bad. I never let anyone hurt my friends. Is that perfume?
It's cologne. Italian.
You forgot your candy.
Ving Rhames, Kojak. Premieres Friday at 9 on the USA Network.
Can't ignore ignore Friday's new sizzling chicken and shrimp. It's just one of our 6 sizzling platters. Everyone could use more Fridays. I'm going in.
Back here at Tucson Electric Park, Diamondbacks enjoying the lead. And the Kitties enjoying watching the D-backs get it done. Oh, yeah, you're happy? Arizona already with 8 hits here this afternoon. And it'll be the top of the order for the Cubs against Sean Estes, Patterson, Perez, and Lee. Curve missing from Estes. And the count 1-0. Corey Patterson struck out swinging his first time.
Sonny, I think the biggest thing about Corey Patterson, we keep forgetting that he's still young. And this will be his 5th year at the big league level. He's been around. And with that youth, I mean, he's still learning. I mean, he's learning a lot more about himself. He learned that he can handle that ball down and in there.
He loves left-hand pitching. And one of the reasons why is that he keeps that front shoulder in and concentrates a whole lot more. So they would bring in lefties out of the bullpen last year to face Corey Patterson, and he would rifle the ball somewhere. They're looking for on-base percentage out of Corey Patterson. This is a guy, Rick, that's been a middle-of-the-order hitter his whole career. He's been a run producer, a guy that probably can hit 30 home runs if they turn him loose. But if he's going to hit at the top of this order, they want him to see more pitches and get on base a whole lot more, because he's got tremendous speed. He is the one legitimate, consistent base stealer in this lineup.
If Perez get a chance to play today, popped out his first time. Patterson on the move. Thrown on in time, and Corey Patterson has it stolen. Well, there's the speed.
Well, there's the speed. And there's also an assist on this stolen base by Nathan Perez here. He saw, as we did, Patterson take off. And at that point, he turned around and just held the bat in front of Coy Hill's view. Coy Hill had to stay back longer, so he saw that right away. There he stays there. He does not really move. He gets down, but he stays in the way just long enough for Patterson to beat the throw.
Second of the spring for Corey Patterson. And that one's caught out of the air, about shoe top high by Clayton. So Perez hit it hard. Patterson alertly getting back to third. Let's go down to Gary Miller standing by with Russ Ortiz.
All right, thanks a lot, John. In addition to Troy Gloss, one of the biggest acquisitions, and a team that turned over a lot of positions is Russ Ortiz. We talked to Javier Vasquez earlier in the game. He's going to go opening day. You're going to go number 2. Talk about this move. What a transition you've had from the World Series with the Giants a couple of years ago. They go to the Braves. Now you got another new pitching coach with a pretty new staff here. How does it feel so far this spring?
It's been great. I mean, we have a lot of new faces, so I think pretty much feels like everyone just came in knowing that, hey, we're going to have to get used to each other, and it almost seemed like we were just started to play as a team right away and started to gel pretty quick because I think we had to. But as far as pitcher concerned, I mean, having a lot of new faces, especially in the rotation, it's exciting on one part, but at the same time, getting used to a new pitching coach is something that I've had to do, 3 of the last 4 years.
I guess you're glad you weren't in for that pitch.
Yeah, Derek Lee is, he's a very, very good hitter. I mean, I've seen him develop from the time I started in pro ball. So, see what he's been doing, and he's developed into a pretty nice hitter. So he's one of those scary guys in the lineup.
Russ, from your days with the Giants, you trained out here. Then with the Braves, you trained in Florida. Now you're back out in Arizona. Now your home games will be in Arizona. Obviously, the ball carries a lot better. You're a fly ball pitcher. What are your concerns?
No, I don't have really any concerns. The biggest thing is just going to be make them hit my pitches, which is, hopefully I'll keep them off balance enough to where they're not able to get the good part of the bat on the ball, and that's going to be the key. I remember when Cruz Jr. was here, he gave a lot of home runs, and obviously he did well, and I think if I can eliminate that with guys in runners scoring position or guys even on base, that's going to be the key.
Russ, you signed a very generous contract here and a long-term one as well. It's taken some criticism from some writers and some outsiders that said, this is not a great contract that Joe Garagiola signed you to. Is that a motivation for you at all when you hear that kind of talk about what the deal you signed?
No, not at all. The motivation I have is that, these guys specifically told me that they targeted me from the beginning of the offseason. they're very excited to have me, and the feeling's mutual. I mean, I'm excited to be here, and it was great when they contacted me and we worked things out. Obviously, yeah, everything worked out great, and I'm planning to make it work for their, for both sides, so where everybody comes away feeling like this was a very good deal to make.
Best of luck this year, Russ. His numbers speak for themselves, guys.
All right, Gary. Well, Derek Lee, a 2-run homer, and Hollinsworth missed one by a couple of inches.
John, I tell you what, though, to me, when Russ Ortiz agreed to come to Arizona, he wouldn't have done it if he didn't think they were going to make some more moves and have a chance to win. He has been in the postseason 4 out of the last 5 years. He was in the World Series with the Giants with Dusty Baker. I mean, this guy, he finds ways to win. He's going to walk people. He's going to give up a run in the first couple of innings. But the next thing you know, he's usually in the lead in the 7th inning. And, he's just a big part of that rotation.
He reminds me of a right-handed Kirk Reeder, because in this game they pay off on wins. And Russ Ortiz is 43 games over 500, guys. And that's going to help any ball club.
Yeah, he's on a Greg Maddux kind of streak right now. The last 6 years, he's won 14 or more games every year.
When they talk about valuable guys, they're guys who pitch 200 innings, and 43 over 500 is a number that most guys never see in their entire careers.
See, has got a piece of that one.
I think you mentioned the two things, Tony, that I consider important for a guy to be a #1 guy, which Ortiz would be considered on a lot of staff. Not pitching opening day, Vasquez drew that assignment, but you have to do two things. You have to throw a lot of innings, which will keep the bullpen fresh throughout the course of the year, and you have to have a difference between your wins and losses, to me, of at least 10. Because for a team to get into the postseason, you need to be so many games over 500. It's got to start with that #1 guy.
Get a #1 guy 10 over. Obviously, a couple of things happen. One, he's in long enough to save your bullpen, but also you don't have to pick up slack at the tail end of the rotation, because everybody's worried about #5. We're worried about the 5th starter. I mean, we did a White Sox game here where the 5th starter last year was absolutely a disaster. And if you get the top 2 or 3 guys going maybe 20, 22, 23 over 500, you don't need as much out of 4 and 5.
You take a look at that rotation. Sean Estes, a guy a season ago, right there, you see 115 games. Blanco lifts this one to center. And Cruz fighting the wind and the sun.
It's a good rotation, but you can't help but think back a couple of years ago when it was Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling up there.
Uh-oh, not good. Okay, boys, time to go to work. Come on, let's go.
Want to keep your car looking pit crew perfect? Introducing DuPont Teflon Car Care products. When you use DuPont Teflon Wax, Protectant, and Tire Shine, dirt, mud, and grime have a hard time sticking. So your car practically keeps itself shiny. DuPont Teflon Car Care products. A miracle of science from DuPont.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With your John Deere dealer behind you and dependability beneath you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Nothing runs like a Deere. Now get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
When you're a star like me, you get treated differently.
I made a large by mistake. Still want it?
Big surprise. An upgrade.
Hey, lady. Do you mind?
Oh, why not? Even my independent insurance agent spoils me.
Wendy, with Drive Insurance from Progressive, you'll get a customized policy, hassle-free claim service, and I'll even give you competitive quotes.
Oh, please. You're embarrassing me.
Everyone gets taken care of with Drive Insurance from Progressive.
Resistance is futile!
Our job is just to be fun.
I believe. We believe.
Stupid at times.
Call.
And we don't even know what that is. We'll do absolutely anything to really get the crowd going. Bagwell, Biggio.
Berkman! Over the railroad Trent. I live for this.
The wait is almost over. Major League Baseball's opening day is coming.
Diamondbacks on top here 4-2 at Tucson Electric Park. Hungry. New pitcher for the Cubs. And that'll be the lefty Steven Randolph as he deals a strike to Craig Counsell.
Funny sometimes how quick things can change. Randolph a couple of years ago with Arizona 8-1. I mean, he was one of the top left-handers in the National League, and all of a sudden now he's, as we were told before the game, on the bubble as far as making part of the bullpen for the Chicago Cubs. I think that's going to come down to what happens with Mark Pryor. If Pryor's healthy, Glenn and Rush will go to the bullpen. Probably no spot for Steven Randolph.
Last year, the ERA in the mid-5s. He started 6 games out of his appearances with the Diamondbacks, but just disappointing. Came over to the Cubs, hoping to find a spot in a bullpen that needed a left-hander. But you're right about Glendon Rush, because at first he was penciled in as a 5th starter. That would have opened a spot in the pen. Not so now, as Dempster has pretty much claimed that starting role.
Counsell skies one to center. Patterson looking up into the sun, and there's one away. Here in the bottom half of the 4th. New third baseman for the Cubs is Rick Bell. Takes over from Macias. Dusty Baker saying before the game that Macias wouldn't play that much because of a bad hamstring, and Corey Patterson, Stoney, as you mentioned, bothered by the stomach virus. See how long he stays out there.
What's your chances when you're wearing number 86 in spring training?
There's a strike to Clayton.
But he's getting in a major league game, getting a chance to, hopefully for him, see some major league pitching and leave some sort of imprint on the powers that be.
Lefty's 0-1. I missed.
Getting that bunt down, nothing new to Royce Clayton. Led the National League just a year ago in sacrifice bunts with 24.
That one into Blanco's mitt. It's 1-2.
Well, if Counsell gets on a lot, because he's going to be the leadoff hitter, Clayton's going to bunt him over quite a bit, because you got the thumpers up behind him, and Counsell's not going to steal a lot of bases. And with Royce Clayton, I don't know how much they're going to use the hit and run with him, but he is a very good bunter.
Clayton hanging in. Well, they were pretty intent on improving the defense up the middle, and I think by most accounts they've done that with Clayton and Counsell, 2 guys that are short-handed. I think that the scouting report, both guys, if they get to it, they're going to catch it.
Well, this guy didn't win the Gold Glove last year, but he did lead the National League in fielding percentage for shortstop. Look out.
Wow, bad hop, and that one gets past Bell into left field. And Clayton racing for second. Close play, but Clayton slides it safely.
It's got to be a 2-base hit. And for Bell, he's sitting on the bench observing things. Macias comes out with a tender hamstring, and the first one almost hits him between the eyes.
Let's go down to Gary Miller.
John, Rick Bell's got a good lineage there at third base, even though even Buddy or his brother David wouldn't have much chance with the ball bouncing the way that one did. But obviously it runs in the family of great third basemen, and only grandfather Gus was the only catcher. Everyone else is a third baseman. And Macias comes out of the game. Maybe he was embarrassed. His uniform number 1 didn't make it. He had to wear 60 today.
I would say as well, Jose Macias, after that bad hop, very happy that he is now sitting on the bench.
Well, Jose would have played him a little lower, and that ball would have bounced over his head easily.
First one to Gonzalez in for a strike. David Bell with the Phillies been bothered by some back problems this spring. It's been an injury-plagued couple of seasons for David Bell. Gonzalez 0 for 2 today. And this one to second, and Ransom collects it over to first, and Gonzalez is gone 2 down.
Along with talking about the right arm of Luis Gonzalez and worrying about whether he's able to make that throw or not, it's also got to change some things as far as your swing is concerned. And the Luis Gonzalez that we've seen in these 3 at-bats today is not the guy that hit 57 homers a few years ago.
I don't think we're going to see that guy anytime soon. He's going to have to make some adjustments. He already has. You know, he always said even when he was hitting 57 that he didn't view himself as a home run hitter.
Slow roller, Ransom again. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. So Randolph pitches around the 1-out double. We're at the end of 4 in Tucson. Diamondbacks 4 and the Cubs 2.
For years I've wondered if the stories were true. And now I finally have the proof.
From the international bestseller.
How did you get this?
They've tracked America's greatest treasure.
If I strike out, you'll never hear another word about this. You got 72 hours.
To the world's most dangerous place.
Hi! The coin travels from somewhere.
We have to find the source.
Come on!
And when the secret is revealed, history will be rewritten.
Oh my God.
Sahara, rated PG-13, starts April 8th.
There it is. The one from Cars.com.
So do you take them everywhere?
Huh? Oh, yeah, I hired them for the day. Big moment, you know?
Find the right car for you. Cars.com.
Quikrete Concrete. For over 60 years, it's been used by just about everyone for just about everything. Quikrete, king of the concrete jungle.
If you do your best thinking in the shower, imagine how smart you'll get under the new shower heads at Holiday Inn Express.
Proving that my client is innocent.
Case dismissed.
5.
Next.
I'd like to patent the dog talker.
Nice hair.
Holy. Deficit's gone, Mr. President. Terrific. Which accounting firm are you with? Oh, I'm not an accountant. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Diamondbacks lead this one by a pair here at Tucson Electric Park. And a reminder, tomorrow it's PGA Golf on ESPN, the Players Championship from the TPC at Sawgrass in Florida. Tiger, Ernie, Phil, and VJ all chase the tour's richest purse. Coverage begins with SportsCenter, presented by John Deere, at the Players Championship, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, all tomorrow on ESPN.
Rick, let me ask you a question. You do a lot of work with the Padres, and just exactly what does it mean to these teams in the West, knowing that San Francisco was probably going to be favored along with Los Angeles, depending on who you listen to, but now Barry Bonds uncertain. What does it do for teams like the Diamondbacks and San Diego?
Well, I think all of a sudden the San Diego Padres feel like, and they felt like when the season began, spring training, that they had a chance to contend this year because of their starting rotation and having Trevor Hoffman healthy back in that bullpen. But you take Barry Bonds out of that lineup and his .600 on-base percentage, you take on the energy that would go in even when you would get him out, well, what would you have left for the guys behind him? That changes everything as far as the Giants are concerned. Brian Sabean did an amazing job. He went out and got the best closer available in Benitez. They needed that. He went out and got Vizquel to play shortstop. He got Matheny behind home plate to help with the starting rotation. But you take Barry Bonds out of there, and it becomes, to me, a coin toss in that NL West.
Is it valid to ask, at least, with an older type of lineup, are there more health concerned? Is it more likely that an older type of lineup may have a more difficult time staying on the field?
I think that's obviously the way things are starting to shape up for that ball club. Now, you add Matheny to help the pitching staff. He's only 34. He becomes one of the youngsters on that team. And Vizquel has stayed pretty healthy over the course of his career. But obviously they were very concerned over Bonds before he had this recent knee surgery. And Moises Alou stayed healthy. He played, I think, 157 games last year. He's going to be even more important for them.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's an old team.
I talked to Moises Alou this morning, and he said, you know what? He said, you know as much about what's going on with Barry Bonds as we do. I will say this: watching that interview as we look at this double play, Thank you. I can finish my story now.
Nice job, Corey.
Anyway. But watching that interview, I've known Barry for a long time. I talk to him every week or so just to check in and find out what's going on. To me, I saw a different guy in that interview. I saw a guy that honestly was beaten down. One of my favorite movies is Gladiator. And watching Gladiator, you know, and watching Barry Estes kind of reminded me at the end of Gladiator. You know, I mean, they sent everything out there they could to try to take him down, and they couldn't do it. He looked like a beaten man yesterday. Now, we all know. We've all had surgeries, and when you do, it takes a while to mentally even start thinking about physically getting better. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to play again this year. But right now, he just doesn't look to be in a rush to get. I mean, this would have been his 20th straight opening day, and he admitted he's not going to make it.
That one miss. He sounded very frustrated. You look at the career numbers. He is 52 away from tying Henry Aaron, 53 away from breaking the record.
Well, those are speculating that Bonds is going to miss the entire season. I think they're entirely wrong. And I think, knowing Barry Bonds as I do, I played with his father and talked with Barry, he'll be back sooner than people think. That one's leaving the yard.
And that one out of here. Nafi Perez over the left field wall and gone. And just like that, we are tied. The switch hitter from the right side pokes one out. Lee a 2-run homer. Now Perez a 2-run homer. It's a 4-4 game in Tucson.
Stoney, you don't look for it from Nafi Perez, but this is Chicago Cub baseball right here. The 2-run homer in the last inning by Derek Lee. Here's another 2-run homer. This team's going to hit a lot of home runs this year.
From the right side, Nafi has a little more power than he does from the left, where he tries to slap the ball a bit more. And when you get one up in the air here in Arizona, that's pretty much the end of the line. And the Cubs hit 235 home runs last year. It's a different team this year, but before you think that they're not going to be able to generate any power, take a look at the corners with Ramirez and Lee. Lee hit a home run today. You've got a very healthy Garcia-Parra. Michael Barrett gives you plus power behind the plate. This is a team still going to hit the ball out of the park.
Well, they had Derek Lee played perfectly there as he grounds out. But Nafi Perez, a 2-run homer. And as we go to the bottom of the 5th, we're tied up.
If you're like us, you'll never want to waste your time on a treadmill again. This free DVD shows you how Bowflex's Tread Climber lets you burn calories in half the time it takes on other equipment. Call for yours right now. You need to see this free DVD. Tread Climber lets me get an amazingly effective cardio workout in 30 minutes. It's quick, it's easy, and it makes me feel great. And it's compact enough to fit anywhere in my home. Tread Climber combines the walking action of a treadmill with the stepping movement of an elliptical. It's really easy to do. It feels sort of like walking in sand. Plus, it's low impact, which keeps my knees feeling great. I know I've got to take care of myself now if I want to look younger and feel younger. Tread Climber simply produces results. Call right now for your free DVD. It shows you why the Bowflex Tread Climber burns calories and works your heart faster and easier than any other cardio product on the market today.
Brenda, I'm going to need a have it when I get back. Here, use Easy Button.
How can I help you? I need something that ends in -er.
Stapler.
No.
Paper.
No.
Office chair.
Wow.
Wireless USB adapter.
Yes!
Need great service? Use your Easy Button. Staples. Our staff will help you find exactly what you need and get you on your way.
Thanks. You.
Staples. That was easy.
We're serving the residents of Happy Woods much better ever since we got Verizon Wireless Push to Talk. It's great for quick exchanges. Subject's arm. I'm gonna need backup. And on the same phone, we can make regular cellular calls on the nation's most reliable wireless network.
Mrs. Johnson, your daughter here was caught speeding down Pine Street.
Now buy our exclusive LG VX 4700 and get up to 4 free. 2 ways to talk from Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Good.
ESPN2 Spring Training Baseball, brought to you by Major League Baseball 2K5, the most exciting baseball video game of the year.
Now back here in Tucson, knotted up at 4-4. And Jose Cruz takes a strike on the outside edge. He has homered and walked, scored a couple of runs. Steven Randolph continues on the hill.
Get to see Cruz hitting from the right side. I think the left side is his more powerful side. But in Arizona, it doesn't take much to hit it out of what is a symmetrical ballpark. 340 down the lines, 388 to the power alleys. 405 to center field with that batter's eye. The wind seems to always blow out and the air is very thin. This is not pitcher friendly for the most part. You see some double figure scores all over the Cactus League.
Pitch in the dirt. New catcher is Robinson Cancel, who takes over for Henry Blanco.
Look out. Had 2 baseballs coming back to the mound there. The new catcher did not realize that ball hit the dirt. Home plate umpire was going to throw another one in play.
Here's a 2-1 to Cruz. Hard hit. 2 hopper to Ransom. He's got it. So Lee pulls him off the bag, but he puts the tag on Cruz. And Stoney, a good example of the athleticism of Derek Lee.
You can't set up too early on that throw to first base, and Lee does it well. That's the projected lineup of the Diamondbacks. Much different than it was last year. They had to. They lost 111. This is a pretty solid team, and Javier Vasquez, although he's not in a league with Randy Johnson, is going to find moving back to the National League and maybe away from the pressure of the big stadium in New York. I think he's going to find it to his liking in Arizona. And the question is, Rick, will he stay there? He's on a long-term deal. He can move if he wants.
You know, the thing to me, he's not Randy Johnson. We all know that. But I'll tell you what, Stoney, I know you and I both agree, he's pretty good.
He's very good.
This guy is a horse. I mean, this is a guy that wants to. The question mark for them right now, I love that lineup. I love their defense. I love their starting rotation. But what's going to happen at the end of a ball game?
Brandon Webb's going to be a lot better, and so consequently it won't put as much pressure on the bullpen. You know, you look at 7-16, but the ERA in the mid-3s. But you're right at the end. They've got Greg Aquino. Now, he's had a bit of a tender forearm. When this guy's right, they think that he's going to be very good. They've got a spot. They're a little concerned about Valverde. They moved Villarreal into the bullpen. They do have some problems in that pen, some question marks. And for them, if Aquino doesn't come through, I mean, they've got a youngster named Brian Bruni that might make this team. So
the kid Lyon is healthy again.
He's throwing the ball great.
But the thing about Aquino to me is he picked up 16 saves last year. He had a good second half for the Diamondbacks in that role, but none of those games meant anything. They were out of it. It was over with. These games this year could mean something, and those are different saves.
Popped up to short. Perez under. He's got the sunglasses on, and he puts it away. 2 down.
Been a pretty impressive inning in 2/3 for Steven Randolph. He's throwing the ball very well.
And you know, too, if he does not make the staff of the Chicago Cubs, there are a lot of scouts sitting right down below us that are looking for left-handed specialists.
Every time I talk to a GM, excuse me, John, they tell me the same thing. Boy, I'd love to add a left-hander to my bullpen. How many GMs at this point are saying the same thing all over baseball?
About 25.
Well, you hear it all the time. It's not about the stuff. It's about the command. A season ago for Randolph, 81 2/3 innings, but 76 walks. And he misses here and falls behind Cintron. It's 2-0. See, the fire department has their scout out.
Here you go. Here's where that frustration sets in. You talked about the good outing. 2 outs, nobody on. Cintron's a guy. You just stay on the outer half of the plate. Stay down. He's not going to hurt you. And what do?
That's one of the things that will drive a manager and a pitching coach crazy. You're going to have a real easy inning. You wind up throwing 4 bad ones to a guy that ostensibly you should retire, and now you might have some problems. And we saw last half inning, Rick, you've got 2 chances to turn a double play to get you out of an inning. You better turn it, because when you give any team 1 more out, they're going to come back and burn you. In the case of the Cubs, they hit a 2-run homer after hitting 2 would-be double play ground balls and beat both by an eyelash.
McCoy Hill gets a chance to hit. He'll turn around and hit right-handed. 0 for 2 hitting lefty. Strikeout. He's wrapped into a fielder's choice. An AB against Guzman and another against Wellemeyer.
Come on now.
You heard Larry Rothschild say, come on now.
If Steven Randolph doesn't wind up in a Cub uniform this season, this will be the reason. The inability to consistently get the ball over the plate.
The pitch outside. And now time is called, and Cancel out to the mound. Now, guys, we talk about having a nice lefty in the bullpen, and everybody would like it. However, it is not a prerequisite. If you have righties that can get lefties out, then that'll work too, right?
Oh, you think back to the Anaheim Angels a couple of years ago when they won the World Series. They had Scott Schoenweiss down there in the bullpen, but they never used him. And the reason for that was a lot of the other guys were equally effective, that being Donnelly and Weber. Rodriguez, it doesn't matter who's standing up there at home plate. He's going to get him out. He's their closer.
And Shields the same way, and they're the same way this year. I mean, Mike Scioscia told us, why take a mediocre left-hander if that's the case? If you have right-handers who throw the ball better, you might as well have all right-handers. And that could be one of the things that he's looking at, but you're right about that team. They ran a succession of guys out there, and this year they're going to try to do it without Troy Percival. They're mostly a right-handed bullpen.
So activity in the pen. Jermaine Van Buren warming up for the Cubs. And the 2-1 in the air. Lee is over there, and he puts it away. Out number 3 as the Diamondbacks leave a man. We'll go to the 6th in Tucson. The Cubs and the Diamondbacks knotted at 4.
Vertical, 27 inches. Ball velocity, 119. Cleat size, 11 and a half. Let's move, man. Let's go! Go!
Baseball. Right down to the smallest details. MLB 2006. Nothing is more true to the game. Rated E for everyone.
How active are your kids? Well, the more active they are now, the more likely they'll have higher self-esteem and a healthy mind and body in the future. That's why it's so important to encourage your kids to get at least 60 minutes of physical activity a day. Take your love of sports outside. Shoot some hoops. Kick the ball around. As long as it adds up to 60 minutes a day. So get your family moving every day, anyway.
Get the Edge cutting system now and give yourself a John Deere yarn for a long, long time. Get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
Perfectly tuned. The all-new Boxster. Porsche. There is no substitute.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
Now the wind is howling here at Tucson Electric Park. We've seen 3 home runs this afternoon, tied at 4. The Cubs and the D-backs, as Sean Estes will continue on the hill. Estes has done a good job, 5 innings, and he's thrown just 53 pitches. But he has given up a pair of 2-run homers here this afternoon.
I asked him before the game, Steve, what he was hoping for, and he said just to get into the 6th inning would be fine. He had pitched 5 innings his last 2 outings, just wanted to build up that arm strength. And John, like you said, he's accomplished what he set out to do today.
He's only thrown 53 pitches, so he still has something left, and he's going to face David Kelton to lead it off. Get Jason DuBois in the on-deck circle, and that was the battle for one of the spots in left field between Kelton and DuBois. Kelton doesn't have any options left. Odds are they wouldn't be able to sneak him through waivers. They might make a deal, but it looks to me like DuBois will probably make this team. He's hit 4 home runs this spring. He hit 31 last year at AAA, drove in 99, and he has terrific power.
Here's a 1-1. And then off the end of the bat, Tracy giving it a chase, and can't come up with it. It'll bounce into the seats. You look at the outfield, we talked about what they lost corner-wise with Alou and Sosa. Burnitz going to play every day against lefties or righties. Dusty said he's not sure about left field with Hollinsworth. Could be a platoon type of situation where Hollinsworth will get a chance against the righties, and then they'll play Du Bois in left field against the lefties.
Well, the problem is that the left-hand hitter in a platoon system gets 75% of the at-bats. They're going to play Du Bois against some of the right-handers. He just has too much power.
That one hammered down the left field line as Gonzalez goes over to pick it up. And Kelton will scoot into second with a stand-up double. So the go-ahead run in scoring position. We'll get our first look at Jason Du Bois.
David Kelton gets a ball up. Another one could be a sign that Sean Estes might be laboring somewhat. He doesn't throw hard enough these days to get away with high fastballs. This is a sinker baller. He has a good curveball, but he's got to keep the ball down and away to the right-handers, turn it over and get ground balls. That one a little careless, and Kelton with a quick bat just drove it to the wall. Diamondbacks made a real interesting acquisition as a coach. Brett Butler, one of the great bunters of our time and a terrific base runner. He's the first base coach, and he's helping the Diamondbacks with their base running, and I don't think there's any better teacher of bunting than Brett Butler.
Yeah, we've seen Craig Counsell already this spring lay down several bunt attempts trying to pick up some base hits, and you know that he's been working with Brett Butler.
Pitch down and in, misses to Du Bois.
Jay Bell hired as the bench coach for Bob Melvin. That was the original Diamondback. First guy signed by that organization.
And another real good bunter.
I remember when Barry Bonds was leading off and Jay Bell would lay down the sacrifice bunt for Jim Leland to get to Van Slyke and Bonilla.
3 straight division titles for that team. Bell would have 35-40 sacrifices a year.
Well, and you got to feel like that's what Bob Melvin's going to do, as you said, with Royce Clayton. I mean, that's going to be his job. Put Counsell in the scoring position when he gets on base for the big boys.
The 2-1 through there for a strike. You got to look at Jay Bell. As a veteran, played for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mentioned his time as a shortstop with the Pirates. Scored the winning run, though, in the 2001 World Series on Gonzalez blooper off of Rivera. Nice block by Hill.
Yeah, Luis Gonzalez, all the things that he's done in this game, I think we would all agree, one of the nicest people you'll ever deal with. And he's always going to be remembered for a base hit that went about 90 feet.
Drawn in infield, that one barely made the grass. But those are memories that stay with you forever. And for Diamondback fans, they will remember that base hit forever. Against a pretty good reliever, might I add.
Not bad. Yeah, it's funny. You can almost remember that whole inning. The guy that got the base hit off Mariano to start it off for the D-backs.
Mark Grace, I believe.
That would be Mark Grace.
You know him?
I know him well. You think about Womack with the double down the line. And the guy a lot of times you forget about was Craig Counsell. I mean, he got hit by a pitch leading up to the excitement that came there in Game 7.
And he's a guy that knows a thing or two about scoring the winning run in a World Series. Did it in the 11th inning of the '97 World Series, Game 7 on Renteria's single off Charles Nagy. And of course with the Florida Marlins, that one gets past Hill right through the wickets into the backstop.
See, that's not what you want there. And Bob Melvin, being a former catcher, would know that well. You work hard to get the strikeout there. The game's tied. I know it's spring training, but you still, right about now, you start turning things up and trying to get it done right. You take a look at him. I mean, he just flat comes up with the glove. If he keeps it down, he gets the job done. But he tried to catch it like a middle infielder would rather than just block it like a catcher's supposed to do.
And the difference is now you have to play the infield in, which makes everybody about a 50-point better hitter, and a fly ball scores the run.
And Chiparia, the pinch hitter, swings and misses there.
There's that defense alignment that you were talking about Luis Gonzalez had with that game winner.
Well, it takes every angle away from the infielders, and if it's not hit right at you, the run is going to score. Now, the only question for the Cubs is, do they have the contact play on? And you'd think representing the winning run, that's what would happen.
Good eye by Echeverry.
Talk with a lot of managers about the percentage of times you put on that contact play as opposed to not. A lot of things go into that decision. Who's the guy in the on-deck circle? You know, if that's Barry Bonds over there, you're not going to have the contact on. If it doesn't get through, you take your chances on him.
Comes Cruz in. Counsell going out. Cruz puts it away. Shows off that good, strong throwing arm. So Echeverry is not able to deliver the run. And Robinson Counsell get a chance to hit with 2 down and a man at third.
I like what you see here with Sean Estes. You know, he made a mistake on the double of the first guy. Location's starting to get away from him a little bit. He just, you know, you kind of, you reach back, you find a little bit more. And for him, a lot of times when he asks for more, he's going to provide less as far as velocity is concerned.
Well, it's still a major league game, and he realizes this is probably going to be his last inning. So whatever he's got, he's going to show to Counsell. You get out of this inning, you figure it's a job well done, even though you've given up 4. A couple of balls left the ballpark that might not have left the ballpark during the regular season. All in all, I think if you're Sean Estes, you come out of this with a pretty positive evaluation of your performance.
Counsell takes a 1-1 low. His first chance to hit here this afternoon. Blanco in 2 at bats, 1 for 2 with a single.
Upset Paul Bacco for the last couple of years, and they figure that Bacco, a left-hand hitter, they think they got a little more with Henry Blanco. They think that's an upgrade behind the plate, and that offensively he'll do some more for them. He's also, as you mentioned, Rick, I think that this is a big point that you can't miss. He's going to help Michael Barrett, and Michael Barrett is one of those kind of guys that's like a sponge. He's going to soak up from everybody any suggestion. He's a prolific worker and a guy that's got a real good swing.
Nice play over there at third by Cintron. Over to first, and they get canceled. That's a heck of a play. So the leadoff double doesn't hurt. When we come back, a visit with the skipper of the Diamondbacks, Bob Melvin.
I can upgrade my mower and my neighborhood status.
You can at the Home Depot, the only place you'll find the absolute best names in power. Ryobi, Toro, Honda, and John Deere. Nobody beats our guaranteed low prices, and no one else has the know-how to make your hard-earned dollars work even harder. The most powerful brands at the most unbeatable prices.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
How long have you two been together?
Teresa counts from the first day that we met, and I count from the first.
Ashton Kutcher.
He's about ready to pop a blood vessel in his head.
Bernie Mac.
You want to force me to use the muscle?
This Friday.
I'm not going to back down.
Let the battle begin. Guess who?
These eyes, they see everything.
Take it off.
You take it off.
Rated PG-13. Everywhere Friday.
Back here at Tucson Electric Park, John Sciambi, Steve Stone, Rick Sutcliffe, happy to be joined by the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Bob Melvin. We'll skip Sean Estes here today. How would you assess the performance?
Good. You know, he's been this way every time out. You know, the wind's blowing out a little bit. He made some pitches where he got some balls in the air and they just blew out of here. But you know, he's really only had one start where he hasn't thrown the ball where he wanted to, and our problem with him is getting up to his pitch count because he's so economical all the time.
Bob, as a bench coach for the Diamondbacks when they won it, you went on, you got your first managerial experience in Seattle. What are those 2 years going to mean for you coming back to the National League where you might have to manage a little bit more because of making all the pitching changes?
Right, and I'll tell you, I was used to that. I went over to the American League and we put together a bench in Seattle our first year that we thought was very good, and I really wasn't able to use them the way I wanted to. I like this type of game a little bit better. I am comfortable in this organization. I've been here before, like you said. I really enjoyed my time in Seattle and really owe the people of Seattle a debt of gratitude, but I'm very comfortable here and I'm glad to be here in Arizona.
Bobby, you put together a great coaching staff, but another thing you did in spring training guys like Mark Grace, Matt Williams, Greg Olson were invited to come down to do exactly what?
Will Clark and Todd Stottlemyre too, to bring back kind of the feeling that we had here. We were a veteran club that prepared very well and competed very well, and that's what we want to bring back. These guys that are associated with our team, competed as well as anybody I've been around, and we wanted to, you know, have that swagger around here and show the younger players especially, you know, how these guys prepare, and just to be around them and hear the stories and so forth, you know, good baseball talk and guys that I hold in high esteem.
Bob, we appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
Bob Melvin, manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, as Tony Clark stands in, hitting in Sean Estes' spot. Big guy will come off the bench for them, switch hitter. And he takes outside here. New pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, Jermaine Van Buren, as you look at his minor league numbers. And he deals to Clark. There's a strike.
I was talking with Dusty Baker and bench coach Dick Cole before the game, and the one guy they wanted to talk about was Van Buren. And what a great story, what a great kid this guy is. Independent baseball a couple of years ago. Signed, went to Lansing for the Chicago Cubs last summer, found himself in AAA, put together a great year, and Steve Stone now, he's in big league camp.
He's also getting a chance to pitch here today. Obviously, you go to Tucson, you run a little deeper into guys that are not going to make it at least this year. And the Cubs have an abundance in one area, and that's right-handed starting pitcher. That's one of the reasons why, although, look, it's devastating if you think at all about Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor missing any time. But if you're going to absorb some injuries with the Chicago Cub organization, right-hand starting pitching is probably where they have a whole lot of talent. Now, Michael Barrett gets hurt, you got a problem. They're very thin in the catching department.
Council up for the fourth time today. He's flied out 3 times.
Well, to me, the number one guy that they can't afford to lose is Ramirez at third base. That's the one guy that without, to me, they simply would go away in the National League Central. Dusty was saying that's basically what happened last year. Stoney, you well know, right before the All-Star break, Ramirez got hurt. The next thing you know, the St. Louis Cardinals were out of sight.
St. Louis put on a rush. I mean, you're not going to win 105 games, but the Cubs, with Ramirez healthy, still had an opportunity to win it. They lost 7 of their last 9. Ramirez was there and healthy. But what Ramirez does give to this team is a slugger who doesn't strike out very much. And on a team that's loaded with strikeouts, he's a guy that's going to make contact. And the reason why he drives in big runs is to hit that ball to right center field. When they made the trade with Pittsburgh, and Jim Hendry has done a terrific job. If you take a look around the starting infield, all the guys are acquired from other places. And those 2 guys at the corners, acquired in trades where they didn't give up a whole lot, are the cornerstone of this team offensively and defensively.
Council stepping out. And the 2-2. Just outside, and now it's filled up.
Cubs have a new trainer this year. It's Mark O'Neill. I was talking with him before the game about the health of Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor. He was very encouraged about both pitchers and how relatively quickly they're coming back. They're encouraged with Woody. They don't think that missing the first series is going to affect him at all. He's going to start the opening game at Wrigley Field. And if they can get him in the 32-33 start range, he will have a big year for them.
Here's a payoff pitch. Good eye by Council, and he takes the walk. Let's go down to Gary Miller, standing by with Sean Estes.
Sean, another outing. I know you were a little upset at some of the things that happened. You just missed a double play ball that would have taken away one of those 2-run homers. Overall, how do you grade your outing as we get closer to the season?
Well, I felt pretty good about it. Yeah, I didn't expect to get as frustrated as I did, you know, in spring training, but juices got flowing a little bit, and I made a bad pitch after, you know, double play ball, but yeah, spring training, so you throw it out the window and take it for what it's worth. But I got my work in today and made some good pitches, threw some quality pitches, and I'm feeling strong. So that's all I'm really concerned about right now.
What led to the frustration? I mean, you got some strikeouts when you really needed it. You had a double play ball that you just missed, and then I said it follows with a home run. I mean, what led to it? And again, as you mentioned, spring training isn't the time where you get that fired up, but you were firing water bottles. You were really upset after that inning.
I threw an empty water bottle, threw my glove down a little bit. You know, I just, you get a little adrenaline, and you know, you're frustrated. It's a game, it's competition, you know, and you want to do well. I'm not result-oriented, as much result-oriented down here, but I did make a bad pitch after you know, the double play ball, and you know, and so you're just a little frustrated, kicked myself in the butt, and then went out the next inning and didn't allow him to score. So that's how I look at it, is how I recover from an inning like that, and physically and mentally I felt really good today.
Okay, well, the double play ball cut off our interview, so we'll come back with more of the Cubs and Diamondbacks, John.
How can a 50-year-old grandmother look this good? Simple. She strength trains with Bowflex.
My results are very real. I lost 17 pounds in the first 5 weeks on my Bowflex.
All it takes for great results is one simple workout done 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Own your very own Bowflex Extreme for no money down and payments of just $19 a month. If you want real results, you need a real Bowflex. Call us for a free DVD or video or visit us online today.
Later this year, we're launching the first of several new satellites that together will deliver over 1,500 high-definition channels across the country. It's part of DirecTV's commitment to the best TV experience. Your TV's ready. Are you?
All today
on last week's Dream Job.
America cuts Dennis Scott.
This week, the season finale is a game of one-on-one. D. Brown
the winning solves everything
versus Matt Bullard.
I'm going to come with him next week.
For the NBA analyst job, the season finale of Dream Job, Sunday night at 10.
I can upgrade my mower and my neighborhood status.
You can at the Home Depot, the only place you'll find the absolute best names in power. Ryobi, Toro, Honda, and John Deere. Nobody beats our guaranteed low prices, and no one else has the know-how to make your hard-earned dollars work even harder. The most powerful brands at the most unbeatable prices.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving. And we don't slow down. The wheel goes round and round, we keep it moving. Round and round. The wheel goes round and round. Keep it moving. Oh, yeah. Keep it moving. Yeah. Keep it moving. The wheel goes round and round. Round and round. Goes round and round.
Top half of the seventh tied at 4. Mike Schultz will be the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks. And Francisco Salas will be the pinch hitter for Cody Ransom. And the first offering from Schultz misses away 1-0. You look at his numbers from the season ago. Big guy, 6 feet 7 inches tall.
Yeah, and a big prospect at one time. Number 2 draft pick back in 2000 out of Loyola Marymount. That's a routine fly ball that on a day like this gets to be real exciting.
Let's go back down to Gary Miller, who's got more with Sean Estes.
Got cut off by that double play ball there in last inning. And Sean, what did the experience of pitching at Coors, and you did very well there last year, do for you to come to the Bob now? I mean, anything from here is gravy, right?
I wouldn't say that. I think what it did is it allowed me to mentally get stronger. I mean, I knew going into it that I was going to give up runs there, and I knew that every outing wouldn't be pretty. But, you know, someone's got to win. That's how I looked at it. And whoever ends the game and is on top wins the game. And it so happened that we ended up on top more. But put innings behind you. You know, you're going to have big innings. It's just try to put up as many goose eggs as you can on the board. And that goes with anywhere. You know, unfortunately, you come to another place like the Bob, and those 3-run innings turn into 1-run innings just because the ball doesn't jump as much or whatever. You've heard all the Coors Field things. But mentally, it really allowed me to get stronger there. You know, my focus became a lot better because it had to be, you know, from every pitch. So I'm definitely going to take that into this year and build on that.
You were also in the NL West, where you have a lot of experience. Barry Bonds' announcement yesterday, we don't know if he'll play at all this year. We know he'll probably miss at least the first couple of months. How does that change pitching against the Giants and the whole makeup of this division?
Well, there'll be probably 1, 2, 3, 4 less walks a game, probably. But no, I mean, really, he changes the whole complexion of the game, especially facing him. A lot of times when he comes up with runners in scoring position or a chance where he can hurt you or beat you, you end up walking him. And we saw it a lot last year, a lot of chickens on the right field wall. But it's going to change a lot. But who knows? They could end up being even a better team. I mean, it's hard. It's scary to say, but they got some pretty good players over there, and it's tough to fill his shoes. But they could be a more well-rounded team. You never know, and you never know. Barry will come back in a month either. So he might have been having a bad day yesterday. I mean, it was pretty apparent he was having a real bad day, and he might overreact a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him sometime this year.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck with him this year, guys.
Dwayne Bacon getting a chance to hit for the first time as he came in as a pinch runner for Corey Patterson in the 5th and stayed in the game in center field.
Tell you what, it was really different walking into the Diamondbacks clubhouse, even with it being spring training, and not seeing that big number 51 in there.
Bacon loops one foul down the left side, and the count 2-1.
I think they just felt that although you'd love to have Randy Johnson at the head of your staff, they weren't in a position to win with him this year. They use him to build their team. And I think that Joe Graggiola Jr., Jeff Morad, Ken Kendrick allocating the funds did a great job in taking a team that was very weak defensively last year, had some pitching problems after the big unit. And I think they're going to put a representative team on the field and a team that actually could compete, assuming that Troy Gloss stays healthy and Vasquez has a bounce back after the second half of last year.
Fouled off at the plate, fouled off the new catcher, Kelly Stinnett. Veteran who wears that hockey goalie style mask. You see more guys using that more and more.
I would put on as much as I could get on. As I could get away with. Stinnett's just a solid guy, good team guy. And to a man, they talk about how quick the chemistry has come together for this Arizona Diamondback team. When you talk about quick, there's a quick inning.
Schultz gets Bacon swinging. Couple of strikeouts for the big guy. Midway in the 7th, tied at 4.
Simon Green is spending a weekend at his girlfriend's.
Is this yours or mine?
Take it off.
You take it off.
Parents' house. What could possibly go wrong? This Friday.
This house can't take any more testosterone.
If they could just get along.
Simon, you playing sports? NASCAR.
They may just call each other family. Guess who?
Now you get in.
Rated PG-13.
Can't ignore Friday's new sizzling chicken and shrimp. It's just one of our 6 sizzling platters. Everyone could use more Fridays. I'm going in.
Honey, who is going to want to buy your lime green hatchback?
Oh, sweet mercy. A lime green hatchback.
It's a thing of beauty.
Find the right car or buyer for you. Cars.com.
Mr. Rodriguez, big game tonight, huh?
New York? Pressure? No sweat.
Speed Stick 24/7 has sweat and odor fighters for maximum protection 24/7.
So, Alex, just one home run tonight?
Tough town.
Speed Stick 24/7, maximum protection 24/7. By men.
My technique when I get in the batter's box is to dig in, pull the pant legs up. I try to point the bat to center field, knock the dirt off, and try to look real mean. What do you think of that?
Major League Baseball Charities is a proud partner of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Now I want to teach you about Pine Tar.
Through programs like RBI and Rookie League, they bring baseball and softball to kids around the world.
Don't be afraid of the ball.
Together, they create a positive place for kids.
ESPN2 Spring Training Baseball, brought to you by Guess Who, starring Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac, in theaters March 25th.
As you see the planes coming out of Davis Moffett Air Force Base. John Sciambi, Steve Stone, Rick Sutcliffe here at Tucson Electric Park. A 4-4 game. And the hitter here, Scott Hairston, going up against the new pitcher, Eddie Oropesa. Last year in AAA with Padres.
Also a former Diamondback. And another left-hander trying to make the ball club. Will Oman, another left-hander trying to make this team.
And Hairston swings and misses. His brother, Jerry Hairston Jr., acquired in Sammy Sosa deal by the Chicago Cubs. And Scott, good-looking hitter, still trying to find a position. He lines a base hit into left field. So Scott Hairston leads the last of the 7th off with a knock. Let's go down to Gary Miller, who's standing by with Luis Gonzalez.
Luis, you're finally getting some action out in the outfield now. Obviously, a big concern is how your elbow is recovering. How did you feel? I know you threw the ball over the cutoff man, trying to show off today, or what?
Trying to show the gun off with the catcher running there. You know, I don't want him to take the extra bit. No, it feels good. I mean, it's been a long road to get back with the off season. And I feel great. I mean, I'm excited again with a bunch of guys that we brought in this year, and I'm looking forward to a good season.
How different is it in this clubhouse, Luis, the way things have been? You know, since 2001 when you guys won it all, you had kind of a steady group here. Randy's gone. You got to turn over more than half the roster. What's this clubhouse like this spring?
Well, it's a lot of fun. The last 2 years was difficult. We had a lot of young players that were rushed up here before it was time for them to be here. So I think in the past, in 99, 2000, 2001, we had a swagger about ourselves. We went out and played hard every day, kind of a blue-collar approach, and I think that's what we're trying to get back to here in 2005.
Let me ask you again about the arm. And obviously last year you had to compensate for it, and then you finally shut it down when the D-backs fell out of the race. How much do you think guys are going to test you and run on you this year?
Well, I'm sure they are, and you know, it's part of the game. You know, if I was on the other side of the field, I'd try to do it too. So I know that I'm going to have to try to be a little bit more aggressive, getting to the balls and getting them in a lot quicker. Royce or Cintron, whoever's out there at shortstop, they already know my situation, so they're going to try to help me out as much as they can.
Rick Sutcliffe up in the booth says, you know, now that you've come out, you were supposed to lead off this inning. They're finally getting some production out of the 3-hole. Really driving the ball today.
Yeah, you know, I felt real good out there. I don't want to show my A game yet in spring training, so I'm trying to bring the infielders in because in the season I want to try to put it over their head out there. It worked in 2001. Let's try it again here.
Let me ask you about a guy who you've spent some all-star games with and spent a lot of time in this division with, Barry Bonds, and his announcement yesterday that he's going to miss at least a couple of months rehab and doesn't know if he's going to come back at all. Looked very depressed yesterday. How does that change things when you face the Giants and even the makeup of the whole NL West?
Well, we were talking about that today in the locker room. I mean, it definitely makes their whole team look a lot different out there. They got some great players over there picking up Alou and some of the other guys, but that's a totally different ball club when Barry Bonds isn't in the lineup, and you know, it could play out to our benefit. You know, we enjoy seeing Barry out there just for the competitive side of the ball game, but when he's not out there, it definitely helps us out.
All right. Thanks, Luis. We know you're saving your best stuff for later.
Thanks.
Guys.
He's sandbagging. That's what's going on.
Doing what Ichiro did in his first spring training. Ichiro would hit every ball over the third baseman's head. And we watched them play and thought they spent all this money on this guy that can't hit the ball on the right side of the infield. And then he actually told Lou Piniella, said, well, you just pull the ball one time. So he hit the ball out of the ballpark. Just told Lou that he was setting them up. It's worked out pretty well for Ichiro over his very brief career in this country.
If Gonzo were to tell the truth, he's got to get home to take care of those triplets. That's where he's at. That's why he's gone.
Get our first look at Connor Jackson. Good looking prospect, considered the second best prospect in the Diamondbacks organization. Good looking hitter.
Well, you're going to love this kid, and he's probably going to play first base for the Diamondbacks before too long. They've got Tracy this year, but they believe that Connor Jackson is going to be a big-time hitter. And under Mike Rizzo, the scouting director, this minor league organization has brought a lot of players to the major leagues. Sergio Santos, Connor Jackson, Carlos Quinton. They've got some very good youngsters in the next wave of prospects that will, in the not too distant future, be productive major league players.
Bounce it at third. That's Bell. And he goes the short way, inning over. So we're at the end of 7 in Tucson. The Cubs and the Diamondbacks still tied up 4-4.
NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues through April 5th on ESPN.
If you do your best thinking in the shower, imagine how smart you'll get under the new shower heads at Holiday Inn Express.
Checkmate again. Gentlemen, the invisible airplane.
What a load of malarkey.
Me? No. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Get the Edge cutting system now and give yourself a John Deere yarn for a long, long time. Get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
Uh-oh, not good. Okay, boys, time to go to work. Come on, let's go.
Want to keep your car looking pit crew perfect? Introducing DuPont Teflon Car Care products. When you use DuPont Teflon Wax, Protectant, and Tire Shine, dirt, mud, and grime have a hard time sticking. So your car practically keeps itself shiny. DuPont Teflon Car Care products, a miracle of science from DuPont.
When you're a star like me, you get treated differently. This is my ID.
Look at this. They've even taken the shells off for me. Even my independent insurance agent spoils me.
John, with Drive Insurance from Progressive, I can customize a policy for your car, motorcycle, RV, even your boat.
You are embarrassing me.
Actually, I do it for everyone.
I get it.
Everyone gets taken care of with Drive Insurance from Progressive.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Top of the 8th, Tucson Electric Park. Diamondbacks Cubs knotted at 4, 16 hits in this one. Fans, can you predict the outcome of the 2005 season? Log on to MLB.com and play the opening day bracket challenge. 30 teams, 1 champion. Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop.
It's a young kid that I saw in the Arizona Fall League that looks like he's got a chance to be pretty good. The Cubs think highly of him as a middle infielder.
Sergio Santos, the shortstop for the Diamondbacks, you just got to look at. They're very excited about his prospects as Jimenez takes over on the mound.
Opponent's hitting close to 300. It hasn't been a real good spring.
Just past the glove of Santos into center field. And Cedeno with a single to start the 8th for Chicago.
Santos is a big kid, and at 6'3", about 215, 20 pounds, they were talking about his ability to play shortstop. They know he's going to be a big-time hitter, and a lot of people think he eventually might even grow into a third baseman. But with Troy Gloss there and there for 4 years, assuming he stays healthy, they believe that if Santos does get to the big leagues, it's going to be as a shortstop, and he's a good-looking young kid.
Calvin Murray getting a chance to hit for the first time today. And pushes a bunt foul first base side. Do you think that the attitude has changed towards bigger shortstops? Back when you guys played, people came around to the idea with Ripken, but it certainly changed with Jeter, who I don't know that everybody realizes is a bigger type guy, Alex Rodriguez as well. Nowadays, you're at least willing to consider a bigger guy at short, aren't you?
Well, I think it might have started with Ron Hansen, who was a very big shortstop. And certainly Baltimore kept talking about, should we move Ripken over, because he came up a third baseman. Worked out pretty well for Ripken, and pretty well for the Orioles.
Steve, right along with that at the second base position, Ryan Sandberg did the same kind of thing at that position that Cal Ripken did at short. Without Rhino playing and doing as well as he did, both offensively and defensively, a guy like Jeff Kent probably would have been stuck at third base or maybe first base and not put up the numbers at that position that we've never seen before.
Well, interestingly, when Rhino was coming up with Philadelphia, one of the knocks on him was that he didn't have the arm for shortstop and probably couldn't play in the major leagues at shortstop. One of the reasons why he was included in that trade. Well, they were right. All he did was go to the Hall of Fame as a second baseman and worked out pretty well. But before that, he did play third for the Cubs. So Sandberg played a lot of different positions, found a home at second, and he was a bigger second baseman, a guy who obviously He hit the ball out of the ballpark consistently.
Well, and another guy going to the Hall of Fame did stick at third base, and our congratulations go out to not only Rhino but Wade Boggs as well.
Do you feel like there are other kind of prerequisites that scouts or baseball people have that have changed as far as, I mean, one of the stigmas still, right-handed pitchers, scouts aren't very interested in seeing smaller right-handed pitchers all the time, right, Steve Stone?
Well, starting pitchers, certainly. They'll take their left-handers any size because there's not that many of them. But right-handed starters, when you see guys below 6 feet, it's a rarity. You never had that problem at 6'7", and we've seen a lot of 6'1", 6'2" right-handers, but most of the right-handers are 6'4", 6'5" these days.
Yeah, and obviously there are exceptions. Pedro Martinez didn't get that memo.
Well, one of the reasons why the Dodgers traded Pedro Martinez was they didn't think that he would be durable enough to start. How'd that work out?
Oops. Delino DeShields. A good player, but not Pedro Martinez. And I don't know, it says Jimenez on the back of this guy here, but this isn't the same guy that we saw a couple of years ago. There's no velocity there. I mean, he's out there on a prayer right now trying to get people out. I don't know if he's hurt or whether it's just over. They talked about him when it began possibly being in that closer's role for these guys, but that's not the guy we're seeing now.
Well, a guy, when he's right, with power sink, authored that no-hitter some years back against the Diamondbacks with the Cardinals.
It's Randy Johnson, yeah.
We're talking about short right-handed pitchers. Tim Hudson, another guy that is not especially big. Runner on the move, and Murray will take his base. So bad start to the inning for Jose Jimenez.
Not near the arm speed that we have seen in the past. Look, it's almost like he's protecting how he just tucks it. I mean, that's how an infielder throws right there. You don't see the extension, and Stoney, when I see something like that, somebody's hurt.
Well, I mean, yeah, you really never know about being 100%. I do know one thing. Anytime you have any kind of shoulder discomfort, you tuck your elbow in closer to your body and you don't get the extension. Consequently, no velocity, no movement. So the Cubs are trying to take advantage of this and unknot this 4-4 game. One thing you really want to avoid in spring training is extra innings.
Especially as an announcer. I've learned that in a short period of time.
TOG, time of game, the most important stat.
Bergeron pops out to D'Antonio. Yeah, that's the first down of the inning. Right in on the thumbs of Peter Bergeron.
Well, and it's all about spring training. Spot, obviously, during the season, Dusty Baker, the sacrifice bunt would have been in order. But Bergeron's not a kid, but some of these other guys, you want to give them a chance to succeed. You want to see them do something they're comfortable doing, and he's going to sit back and watch.
Josh Allcomp takes a pitch on the outside corner for a strike. So Jimenez finding the mark there. Two on, one out. Cubs trying to push across the go-ahead run in the 8th. And a base hit into left center field. Hairston charging. They're going to hold the runner Cedeno at third, and that'll load the bases up.
Ronnie didn't read that one very well because Sergio Sanchez is 6'3", but he'd have to be 10'3" to get even close to that one. You got to know that's going over his head, and you got to score on this one, especially with one out. Cedeno at second base. You read the angle of the pop-up, but not wanting to get doubled off, he played it conservatively.
No sacks packed. Angel Echeverria up to hit. Takes a strike here. Came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th and fly to center. Went up to say hi to Angel before the game just to clarify things. And it started with just a quick, and he cut me off and said, Echeverria. And I said, first name? And he said, however you want to do it. I needed no help with Dusty Baker on the pronunciation.
Johnny B picked up his 1,000th career win.
Ouch. Got him on the elbow, and that will push across the go-ahead run. So Jimenez all over the place here, and it's a 5-4 Cub lead.
Steve Melendez, the trainer at Daytona, coming out from the dugout to check with Echeverria and find out if he's okay. Rick, taking a look at the Central, obviously it starts with the St. Louis Cardinals and the fact that they are indeed the defending champions after winning 105 games. With all of the losses in the offseason, especially Renteria and Matheny and Woody Williams, do you think they've come back to the division, or do you believe that some of the teams in the division have taken a step closer to them?
I think there's been a lot of losses all the way around in that division. You know, you look at what happened in Houston. You got, Jeff Kent's gone. Wade Miller's not there anymore.
Carlos Beltran gone, and that's a big loss.
That's huge when they weren't able to bring him back. Roger Clemens is hurt right now. You don't know about Andy Pettit.
They won't have Berkman to begin the year because of the knee surgery. I think that's the focus. They will struggle to score early on, or at least you would expect them to, right?
You take a look at the Cubs. We've talked about Sammy Sosa. I think the guy they're going to miss the most is Moises Alou. Just the big RBI guy that he was, the clutch hitter that he was. I don't know how they can anticipate being, but they've not figured out the closer's role as of yet. For the first time in the last 3 years, Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor came to spring training healthy. They're not healthy right now. There's question marks there. So St. Louis was able to go out and pick up Mark Mulder. That could be huge for them. And the last time I checked, Albert Pujols was still there.
He's still around, still healthy. And when you take a look at the average through the first 4 years, he's just a destructive hitter against everyone. It doesn't matter. I've watched him, and I watched him the first series against the Diamondbacks when he came into the league. And they had pretty good staff at that point. And he faced Johnson and he faced Schilling, and I was looking for soft spots and couldn't find any. And 4 years later, they haven't found any yet.
I was there the other day when Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Padres, asked Woody Williams, who played with the Cardinals last year, about Pujols. He said, how do you get him out? Where do you pitch him? Woody Williams says, if I give up one hit to him this year, I want you to come out and beat me. He says, because that's the one guy on that team that you can't let beat you.
Santos going back, Hairston coming in. Santos puts it away, stumbling, and almost landed on his seat.
Well, look, that's another bad base running play, and the reason I say that is if you're at third base on an infield pop-up, you know it's going to stay up long enough. Tag up. Because, as it turned out, I think you could have scored from third on the play, and I think Chris Spire might be talking right now at third base. I've seen some pretty good base runners when an infielder is backpedaling, score. And that would have been a big run. The Cubs do lead by 1.
That's the second time he had an opportunity to score the go-ahead run, and still stands there at third base.
That one hit him. Jimenez hits another. So 2 runs in the inning, and both of them bases loaded hit batsmen. And Bob Melvin out of the dugout.
He's not out to argue now with the home plate umpire. He too realizes that this is not the Jimenez that we've seen in the past, and to me it's going to be a while before he pitches again.
Well, he's going to go to the pen and bring in Lance Cormier. Cubs have forged ahead 6-4 Chicago here in Tucson.
America's favorite home gym is more affordable than ever. Now you can get the all-new Bowflex Extreme for just $19 a month. Call the number on your screen for a free DVD or video and check it out. Bowflex's Power Rod technology delivers results. Powerful arms, defined legs, a stronger chest, and a toned, sexy core. And owning a Bowflex home gym is so affordable. Great results are easy with a new Extreme. All it takes is one simple workout, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, to get in the best shape of your life. The Extreme is built so well that we back it with an unrivaled 7-year warranty. And so effective, it comes with Bowflex's 100% satisfaction guarantee. Through this special offer, you can own one with no money down and just $19 per month. You can't get this Bowflex deal anywhere else. Call us for a free DVD or video, or visit us online and find out how to get your Bowflex for just $19 a month today.
Here's to the role players Those who value substance over flash and work for every inch. They won't make the headlines, and they may not have the flair, but they share the will. That's the genuine article, the sacrifice of the self for the good of the team. The NCAA Championships on ESPN.
Brenda, I'm gonna need a have it when I get back. Here, use the easy button.
How can I help you? I need something that ends in -er.
Stapler.
No.
Paper.
No.
Office chair. Wireless USB adapter.
Yes!
Need great service? Use your easy button. Staples. Our staff will help you find exactly what you need and get you on your way.
Thanks. You.
Staples. That was easy.
Tough outing for Jose Jimenez. Cubs lead it by 2. And the new pitcher will be Lance Cormier with the bases loaded and 2 down. And Rick Bell at the plate. First one for Cormier misses.
Just when you say you're in search of a sub, a 6-foot-tall right-hander, here along comes Lance Cormier.
He came along last year as well. 4th round draft pick in the 2002 draft. Got to the big leagues, 17 games, 5 starts. Here's one of those spots too where a manager will remember. If he can come in here and get an out, leave the bases loaded right now. The Diamondbacks just down by 2 runs. Somebody gets hurt. You need to call a guy up from AAA. Cormier's going well. Bob Melvin paying attention.
Well, this is certainly for all the youngsters, whether it's late in the game or early in the game, or you're getting a start in a B game or anything else. Very important to leave an impression. That one's not going to impress you too much.
That one is hammered, and that one is gone. How about that? Rick Bell, a grand slam, and the Cubs have blown it open here in the 8th. It's now 10-4 Chicago as Bell clears the bases. And Stoney, you touched on it earlier in the broadcast, how well the ball carries to that part of the yard.
Just hit it to right center, get it up in the air, and the ball goes out of the ballpark. So 6 on the board here in the 8th. And Bell goes the opposite way. And with the wind blowing that way, it's a no-doubter today.
Nate Freese, a pinch hitter. Nice stab by Andy Green as he spears it out of the air. Inning over. But the Cubs pick up 6 in the 8th and lead it 10-4.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With your John Deere dealer behind you and dependability beneath you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Nothing runs like a Deere. Now get a free cart with select John Deere tractors.
I can upgrade my mower and my neighborhood status.
You can at the Home Depot, the only place you'll find the absolute best names in power. Ryobi, Toro, Honda, and John Deere. Nobody beats our guaranteed low prices, and no one else has the know-how to make your hard-earned dollars work even harder. The most powerful brands at the most unbeatable prices.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
We were the 101st Airborne, the first ones in. For 8 days, I watched my men kill and be killed. We weren't just soldiers, we were brothers.
Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30. Rated M for mature.
So, here's the one you saw on Cars.com. It's silver with alloy wheels and a bed liner.
Give me 5, man. Up high. Can you bird it? Can you do the bird? Can you do the bird?
Find the right car for you. Cars.com.
On last week's Dream Job.
America cuts Dennis Scott.
This week, the season finale is a game of one-on-one. D. Brown.
The winning solves everything.
Versus Matt Bullard.
I'm going to come with him next week.
For the NBA analyst job. The season finale of Dream Job. Sunday night at 10.
Back here at Tucson Electric Park, Will Oman, left-hander, new pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, as he'll face Luis Torrero to start it off. And the Cubs were certainly high on him a little bit ago, but that's changed a little.
Well, he pitched in Mexico this winter, and he started out slowly this spring control-wise, but lately he's been throwing the ball pretty well. And every outing for him is critical.
Alan Rick, the new catcher. It's the first one from Oman misses.
Yeah, you can understand why Oman wanted to play winter ball. I mean, this is a guy that had elbow surgery both in 2002 and again in 2003. A couple of years taken away from him. Drafted in the 8th round back in 1998. Born in Frankfurt, West Germany.
Still young enough, and a left-hander where if he can harness his control, he can still find a spot to pitch somewhere in the big leagues, if not for the Cubs.
Luis Torrero getting a chance to hit for the first time. A little bit of time at the big league level last year, but they had some problems with him at AAA, some attitude issues. Got into a fight and was suspended. Torrero takes the walk. So the leadoff man aboard for Kelly Stead. Folks, tonight ESPN2's coverage of the NIT presented by Jordan continues with 2 second-round games. First at 8 Eastern, Davidson Wildcats take on the Maryland Terrapins. Then at 10 Eastern, Vanderbilt meets Memphis. The NIT presented by Jordan tonight on ESPN2. The veteran Kelly Stead taking a strike here. It's 0-1. When you look at the Cubs, guys, obviously they got to make sure that Wood and Pryor are healthy for the season. It'll go a long way to helping them have success. A little bit like the Florida Marlins, as far as the Marlins need Josh Beckett and A.J. Burnett to stay healthy and get 65-plus starts from those two guys. Likewise for the Cubs with Wood and Pryor. And it'll be really hard if that doesn't happen for both those teams to get into playoffs.
The same way on both teams with the tail end of the bullpen, where premier setup men are going to be asked, at least for the moment, for the Cubs to close. LaTroy Hawkins is probably going to inherit the closer's job with Browski hurt. Guillermo Mota will inherit the job now that Benitez has moved on to San Francisco. How difficult is it, Rick, for a guy who's used to being a lifelong setup man to move into the closer role?
It can be real difficult for some people. You're going to face different people in that 9th inning than you're going to face in the 8th inning. A lot of times a manager will just go with whoever comes up in the 8th, but you get around to the 9th inning, that's when the top pinch hitter is normally sitting there ready to come out. It's just a different mentality. I mean, the game is on the line. In the 8th inning, if you give it up, you still got an opportunity to come back in the 9th and get it back. That does not happen for a closer. And a lot of times what happens is when they finally blow a save, how do they handle it? We've seen Lee Smith, we've seen Goose Gossett, Jeckersley. I mean, they didn't blow many saves, but when they came to the ballpark, they had the same mentality, the same attitude that they did if they would have saved the ball game the day before.
Well, Goose was one of my roommates, and he used to say that a short memory is the closer's best ally. You forget about yesterday, it really doesn't matter very much, and you go out there and start again.
This ball is crushed to left field. Balcom going back, and it's off the fence. Torrero towards third, and they're going to send him. And Cedeno's throw to the plate is late. It is an RBI double for Kelly Stead, a 10-5 game. Check out the career numbers for the potential closers that the Cubs are looking at.
Talking with Dusty Baker before the game, he's been real happy with the way Chad Fox is throwing the baseball. Rimlinger is back in the mix, but Stoney, like you said, LaTroy Hawkins will be the closer when the season begins. And what a shame for Joe Borowski. I mean, the injured a year ago, he comes back. The velocity was getting a little bit better. There was some nice little sharp break to that slider, and then it's just part of the game. He got hit by a line drive, and he's going to be out.
Well, Joe took himself for x-rays and didn't think anything was going to happen. He thought he might be out a couple of days and then come back. They found the break, and unfortunately for him, all that hard work in getting his arm back together again has gone for naught.
Do you have to have an elite guy at closer or a monster guy at closer? Because to me it's interesting that even when Borowski was healthy, people looked at the closer spot for the Cubs as being a question, and yet in 2003 they were 5 outs away from the World Series with Joe Borowski as their closer.
Joe Borowski that year was, I think, 33 of 37, so he, although he wasn't the so-called monster closer, he had a monster closer year. Anytime you can get about 85 to 88% for a closer, that's pretty good. Obviously, Eric Gagne and Mariano Rivera set a whole new standard. That year, Joe was pretty good.
I think, too, having that setup role, it's almost like, you know, going to high school and as a freshman and having an older brother that's a senior. You know that you got that guy down there, even if you have to come in the 8th inning to bail you out. When you're the guy, I mean, you're it. It's like being an only child. I mean, you either get out there and get the job done or you don't.
Outs 25, 6, and 7 are so precious and so different than anything else. That's why there's maybe 10 85 to 95% closers in all of baseball. That's it. If it was easy to do, there'd be many more of them, and there'd be fewer teams looking for a guy at the end to come in and asking themselves the question, can my premier setup man now close for me? And there's a lot of teams asking that question this time of year. There's no guarantee that Guillermo Mota, as good as he was as a setup man behind Gagne, can go and close.
You know, and Felipe Alou was saying the other day that signing Benitez is going to make his job a lot easier.
You know, Benitez was lights out. You look at the numbers he put up a season ago. Armando Benitez with the Marlins was phenomenal. Santos grounds one up the middle, and that's going to knock in a run. Stinnett in to score. It's a 10-6 game as the Diamondbacks have collected 2 here in the bottom of the 8th.
Right about now, during the regular season, you start thinking about your closer. I mean, here they come. You figure the game's well at hand, and it starts to get away from you. Holman here really struggling right now, and like you said, Stoney, Santos can hit a little bit.
They're going to really like him in Arizona. He's a big, strong young kid who's handled all the plays at shortstop that he's had to handle, and that for him is not a real new position. He's been there before, but every day thinking about now going to be a shortstop, it's different.
We were talking about height. It's not going to happen this year because Royce Clayton will be their shortstop, but you put Santos out there at short, you've got Troy Glaus at third. Not a bigger one around than what that would
be. Andy Green at the plate. And he takes in the dirt. It's even up. Now, more and more you are seeing managers willing to extend their closers. Gagne will go more than one on occasion. Keith Folk, a guy that we saw utilized in a form where he would go more than 3 outs if necessary.
Yeah, he pitched 2+ innings yesterday in a spring training game, just getting his arm in shape to where he can be stretched out if needed. A couple years ago when Boston tried that closer by committee, I think they like having Keith Folk down there a little bit better than what that situation was.
And Chad Fox, one of the guys we talked about, was part of that group in Boston, now with the Cubs. There's a strike.
Speaking of Boston, a couple of spring training games in Arizona. I was told before the game today that how that came about, how they were able to get the Red Sox. Well, when they started talking about the Curt Schilling trade, Jerry Colangelo said, hey, you know, by the way, you know, what's the chances of getting you guys to come out to our facility? Well, they're going to be bringing a world championship with them when they show up before this spring training ends. And then the Chicago Cubs, on the other hand, Stoney, we were looking at the schedule. The middle of June, the Boston Red Sox come to Wrigley Field.
Well, this year the Cubs will go to Yankee Stadium and they will entertain the Red Sox. Last couple of years, the Cubs played the last 2 games of spring training against the Diamondbacks in Phoenix and sold a whole lot of tickets.
Cedeno gets 1, but they're not able to get 2 as Hairston, or I should say Andy Green, beats it out.
But this year with the Cubs playing the first 3 regular season games in Arizona, the last thing they wanted to do was play them a couple of exhibition games at the end of the spring training and get 5 in a row against them.
The other thing, too, with the Red Sox and the Cubs, kind of like college football, you talk about Notre Dame and say for the bowl games, they travel well. Red Sox fans, Cub fans travel well wherever the road game is.
Well, one thing, too, the fans are going to love watching those matchups. But as far as an interleague draw, no, I don't think managers want to see Boston and New York.
Michael Wirtz replaces Will Oman when we return.
Simon Green is spending a weekend at his girlfriend's.
Is it yours or mine?
Take it off.
You take it off.
Parents' house. What could possibly go wrong? This Friday.
This house can't take any more testosterone.
If they can just get along.
Simon, you playing sports? NASCAR.
They may just call each other family. Guess who?
Now you get in.
Rated PG-13.
Perfectly tuned. The all-new Boxster. Porsche. There is no substitute.
When you're a star like me, you just get treated differently.
Key to the minibar?
Ooh. They miniaturize an entire bar just for me.
Turn down service?
Fantastic. Somehow they know I like to sleep between the sheets. Even my independent insurance agent spoils me.
John, for you, the best policy is drive insurance from Progressive. I've compared a lot of them.
You see, he treats me like the Sultan of Mau.
Actually, I do it for everyone.
Of course you do.
Everyone gets taken care of with drive insurance from Progressive.
Back at Tucson Electric Park. As Mike Wirtz replaces Will Oman, a 10-6 game. And the Cubs on top.
Michael Wirtz has had a pretty good spring, and he's added a changeup. Last year, he had a real impressive start, sent down to minor leagues, brought back. I think the young man is fearless, and I think he will make the team this year, and that changeup is going to be his best friend to left-hand hitters. He needed one more weapon against the lefties, and I think the changeup is that weapon.
Well, here's a switch hitter batting left, Quentin McCracken. One out man at first. There's a strike. These teams will square off opening day, April 4th, Bank One Ballpark in Arizona. It'll be Zambrano and Vasquez on ESPN. Nice play over there at first by Freese. That's the only out they'll get. McCracken hit it hard, but Freese able to corral it.
That's what you look for there. Your manager, Dusty Baker, you bring a guy in. You want to shut down a possible comeback attempt by the Diamondbacks. Come in and get a ground ball. So be it a nice play. It's still, that ball was not hit that hard. Had it been hit right at the first baseman, the double play could have been turned. You love having one guy down there in that bullpen that can come in and get 2 outs with 1 pitch.
It certainly helps in Wrigley Field if that's your home park, because you have infield grass that is just over the shoe tops. Very difficult to drive the ball through. If you're a sinker baller, it's a tremendous advantage.
You know, we've talked about how the Cardinals ran away with the Central last year. You know, you don't want to win a division anymore. You want to be the wild card team when you get into the postseason. That seems to be the key. And you know, the Cubs, they're at the end of the year when the month of September rolled around, Stoney, you know, I mean, the wild card was theirs. I mean, the Astros, give them credit. They won 9 out of their last 10, but the Cubs, right along with that, had their problems.
The Astros were a different team when they acquired Carlos Beltran, and for a while it looked like they were just on the verge of starting to unload some of their talent. They came into Wrigley Field for a 4-game series, lost the first game, won the next 3. And then the Astros were off to the races. And for the Cubs, they just stopped hitting. And that's one of the reasons why the Astros went to the playoffs.
I know that people on the Cubs side didn't make this excuse, but the Cubs were affected by the hurricanes down in Florida and had to play a pretty brutal schedule down the stretch to finish the season. The Marlins ended up finishing the year having to play, I believe, 32 games in the last 29 straight days, and likewise for the Cubs, they had it tough. Did they run out of gas?
I'm not sure if they ran out of gas because they played some teams that you think you should beat. The Mets were decimated. They played 5 guys who played in the minor leagues, and yet the Mets took 2 of 3 in New York.
Lost 3 of 4 to Cincinnati.
And the Cubs came home against Cincinnati, a team with a team ERA of 5.80. And the Cubs just didn't hit a pitching staff that a lot of people did hit. So it was one of those things that you go out there, and the harder you tried to win, the worse things got for the Cubs. And you watched Houston, who absolutely just took it away. I mean, they deserved to go to the playoffs. They did. It was a combination of a Cub collapse and a very hot Houston team, rejuvenated by, I believe, that 4-game series against the Cubs.
Wirtz gets a swing and a miss from D'Antonio. The inning is over. Diamondbacks get a pair back, and we go to the 9th. It is 10-6.
I can upgrade my mower and my neighborhood status.
You can at the Home Depot, the only place you'll find the absolute best names in power. Ryobi, Toro, Honda, and John Deere. Nobody beats our guaranteed low prices, and no one else has the know-how to make your hard-earned dollars work even harder. The most powerful brands at the most unbeatable prices.
The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Right now is the best time to transform the outside of your home. With new windows, siding, and garage doors installed through the Home Depot. So call right away for more information and get your makeover started with brand new energy-efficient windows and siding that you'll never ever have to paint. Or add Clopay garage doors for a quick but dramatic change. It all begins when you call now for your free in-home consultation, where we'll listen. Then put licensed, insured pros to work, making sure your project's done right. You'll get installation that's guaranteed by the Home Depot. You'll also get a $100 Home Depot gift card offer by mail-in rebate with qualifying purchases, only if you call now. Choose from generous financing options, too. Start your transformation today with the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
We're back here in Tucson. Cubs lead it by 4, 21 hits in this one, as the Cubs come up to hit here in the 9th. Tomorrow on ESPN is PGA Golf, the Players Championship from the TPC at Sawgrass in Florida. Tiger, Ernie, Phil, and VJ all chase the tour's richest purse. Coverage begins with SportsCenter, presented by John Deere at the Players Championship, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, all tomorrow on ESPN. Ronnie Cedeno will lead it off against Lance Cormier, who's into his 2nd inning of work.
What a great time for a sports fan this is. I mean, you got NIT games. You got the NCAA women playing right now. The guys come up on the weekend. Opening day just right around the corner. The Players Championship.
Yeah, you're talking earlier about Steven Randolph being on the bubble for the roster, trying to make the Cubs. This time of year, it's March. Bubble, we're talking about NCAA tournament. Should Notre Dame have gotten in? Who are the bubble teams? Yeah, a lot of fun. Baseball fans excited as we close in on opening day.
I think the best part about this time of year is that every team still has high hopes. They all made all of their moves. You have a lot of general managers taking a look at what the other GMs are going to do, guys that are out of options, guys that they're going to try to sneak through, deals that you might make. But everybody has a whole lot of hope that what they did in the wintertime will be good enough to at least make them competitive for a while. Hang around until some of your injured players get back. And you know that's what's on the mind of San Francisco right now after the Bonds announcement. They've got enough talent there to hang around. They added a terrific closer. They've got a veteran team, so it's not a question of the guys panicking. And Brian Sabean has shown over the course of the years that he usually gets that team what they need to be competitive. If you're the Dodgers, you're wondering about the knee of Eric Gagne, because without Gagne, with now Mota gone, you've got some big problems, and that's a team that's also doing a lot of things differently this year than they did last year when they won the division.
I do a lot of wondering about what's going on with LA right now. That's hard to figure. I mean, they finally get Beltre to the point that they had predicted for a long time, and not even really an effort to bring him back. That was a total surprise, I think, to a lot of people.
Good aggressive base running there from Cedeno. So runners at the corners. The Cubs are back at it. Murray with that single to right. Chicago looking to add to its 4-1 lead. I think the other thing about everybody having hope this time of year is it's realistic too, because from a competitive standpoint, if you were to go back to 2002, I think a lot of people in spring training would have looked at the Angels and said, you know, I don't know that that's a team that really had that much of a chance to win the World Series, and they did. And I think in a similar vein, the 2003 Marlins, a lot of people would have doubted that they would have had a chance to win the World Series. So a lot of teams out there have hope right now, and they've got good reason to. I'm sure there's a sleeper team, whether you're talking about Kansas City from 2 seasons ago, where they were able to hang in there for a while. I'm sure there's a sleeper team or two this year that will surprise.
And John, right along with that, you're exactly right. This is an important time of the year for general managers to do what they do. That waiver wire, there's going to be people, as you said, Stoney, coming in and out. They're going to be trying to get people through it to be able to send them down and hold on to them. There's going to be Steven Randolphs and guys like that are available. I mean, little trades that right now don't seem that big, but all of a sudden can be when it's said and done.
And there's also guys that are out of options that you know you're going to lose on waivers, so you make a deal.
That one off the glove of Jackson. Redirects. Pitcher gets over to cover. Nice job by Cormier as Green collected it. A run scores, but a good job on the infield. The right side for the Diamondbacks.
All the way around. Knocking down the baseball to begin with, and Green not quitting on it. He comes in charging, not assuming that ball was going to get by him. You see him moving right there, and then he just continues to come. Everybody hustling. That's what you start working on in day one of spring training. Get over there, stay with it.
And for Connor Jackson, that's a guy that's trying to learn a whole lot about first base very quickly, because he knows for him the road to the major leagues is at first base with the Diamondbacks. Maybe not for a while because of Chad Tracy, but eventually he'll probably be there.
Well, and the key thing I think that you said there is with the Diamondbacks. I mean, there are 29 other teams out there. They too know what this kid is capable of doing, and if they're, you know, all of a sudden Arizona's competitive and they need a closer, well, they had that problem a few years ago, and they went down and got Manti. They brought him back. That could be a guy they do it with.
Tell you what, Matt Manti, to me, a good signing for the Boston Red Sox when you're looking at $750,000. You're not sure whether he'll stay healthy or not, but you do know this: if he is healthy, the stuff's pretty good. That's an inexpensive.
Well, Theo Epstein's a genius. I mean, it's amazing what he has already done at such a young age. The World Championship there in Boston. He right along with that. Wade Miller. I mean, how good can this guy be if they're able to get him healthy?
I think Wade Miller is a guy that if they can work on his mechanics and get him squared around, that's a tremendous addition to this team, because there were times with Houston when Wade Miller against the Cubs was absolutely unhittable. Then had some arm problems, and Houston decided to allow him to move on. Boston picks him up. That's a real good addition.
And people talk so much about the Moneyball stuff, and Boston really has done the job. Yeah, they hired Bill James, but they blended the sabermetric stuff with the scouting. And Theo Epstein, yeah, he relies on the statistical analysis, but as well, I know Bill LaJoy, a guy whose opinion he leans on a ton, and the people in that organization. So when you look at some of the moves, some of the inexpensive moves that they made the past couple of seasons, whether it's a Kevin Millar or Ortiz 2 seasons ago, that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
Good bunt there.
Well, John, when you talk Boston, it all starts and stops with Larry Lucchino. That's the man. That's the man that pulls the trigger. He's the one that that hired Theo Epstein to do the things that we've talked about. And, you know, people wonder, how can they let Pedro Martinez go? Well, they made an effort to sign him. But the number one thing that they had to get done this winter, they were able to do, and that's bringing back Jason Varitek.
Allen Rick, the catcher up here.
So signed a free agent starting pitcher, Stoney, you and I are real familiar with. A guy named Matt Clement.
I think Matt Clement, coming out of San Diego. In fact, I remember you telling me about him when he was a kid in that organization. I mean, the Cubs would have loved to have kept Matt Clement. It's just that 3 years at $24 million was a bit more than they wanted to go. But he's a guy that pitches a lot of innings and
always takes his turn.
Movement
always
on
healthy.
the fastball is terrific. Got a good sinker.
And all of a sudden, you put him into the hands of a guy like Jason Varitek. He's put up some big numbers. Clement's had been solid the last several years. It could be a big year for Matt Clement.
I think the other thing that's interesting with Matt, and you look at where guys peak, he's 30 years old. He pitched less than 30 innings in high school. So on the developmental side, you know, he's behind the curve a little bit, or was for his age. So
big basketball star in high school.
A chance to go to James Madison to play hoops.
Well, the wild card's already over in the American League. We all know that.
I would agree.
We just don't know who it's going to be. I know it's coming out of the East. I think that's an easy prediction to make. But after that, a lot.
All right, let me ask you this, though. Unforeseen something were to happen in the East. The most likely non-East team to win the wild card would be which team?
I haven't even looked at it. I mean, if somebody gets hurt, they're going to go out and bring somebody in, both of those teams. I mean, the wild card's coming out of the East, okay?
Mr. Sutcliffe, you have not answered the question. Rick down on strikes. I'll take the fifth, Your Honor. Cubs lead by 5.
On last week's Dream Job.
America cuts Dennis Scott.
This week, the season finale is a game of one-on-one. D. Brown.
The winning solves everything.
Versus Matt Bullard.
I'm going to come with it next week.
For the NBA analyst job. The season finale of Dream Job. Sunday night at 10.
So what'd you have for dinner? A pound of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn and pudding. You? A sliver of trout spritzed with lemon. And baby carrots!
Should have had Hungry Man from Swanson. A whole pound of the good hearty food that men love. Hungry Man, it's good to be full.
Right?
Celebrate the New England Patriots' incredible third Super Bowl title.
Great pass by Deion Grant.
You can be part of the thrilling season with Sports Illustrated and the must-have NFL Films DVD, The New England Patriots Super Bowl 39 Champions. Plus, this special Sports Illustrated hardcover commemorative book gives an inside look at the Patriots' unbelievable season. Both are free with your paid subscription to SI. Get 56 issues for only $1.59 an issue. Save 60% off the cover price. Use your credit card to get this great Patriots Championship polo free. Designed exclusively for Sports Illustrated, it features the Patriots and Super Bowl 39 logos. Call now to get all three great Patriots collectibles free. Enjoy forever this incredible New England Patriots Super Bowl 39 package. It's the best yet and available only from Sports Illustrated. Call now.
To order, call 1-800-446-0800. That's 1-800-446-0800. Or go online at sipackage.com.
Touchdown!
Cubs lead it by 5 here at Tucson Electric Park. Josh Kroger will take over on the mound for Chicago. Check that. Mike Wirtz still in the game. Josh Kroger is going to hit for the Diamondbacks. How's that?
Spring training for everybody, pal.
Absolutely. Definitely get a chance to get down to the Diamondbacks clubhouse and see if Josh has any pitching ability whatsoever. See, both of them wearing number 43.
that can certainly lead to some confusion.
Did you hear the excuse machine just get cranked up? Yeah, we just turned on the excuse machine. Absolutely. The 0-2. And he got him.
We're seeing some really good stuff right now.
Well, Michael Wirtz has always had a real good sinker, and adding the changeup to it, his stuff has been very good. And with a few spots open in the bullpen coming into spring training, it looked like Michael Wirtz has just jumped up and taken one. Because there was Wellemeyer, Lester, and Wirtz, and a battle. And Larry Rothschild is falling ahead, making sure everybody gets ready and doesn't miss the bus.
Two lefties up in the pen for the Cubs.
You know, it's a situation where these are minor league guys that were brought here in case there was a problem. Somebody got hurt, something happened. It was unforeseen, but you know, they're just down there getting their work right now. If an opportunity to come in exists, if there's problems here in the inning, they'll be in there. But like this.
One off Salas's glove, and Tyler Jackson will reach first. So one out, base runner, and the error by the second baseman. Francisco Salas.
You know, there's errors, and then there's errors right before you're going to get on a bus to drive, you know, whatever the 3 hours, 4 hours it could be with traffic back to Scottsdale is for Dusty. That's the frustration there.
There's Luis Torreira. And there's a swing and a miss. All right, true or false, in a spring training game, like, there are guys cranky on both sides because of the error, right?
Actually, right now they're thinking about what's for dinner, where are they going to go,
right,
and when they're going to get back. You got a guy on the mound who can throw a double play ground ball, and that's what they're looking for.
Normally about now that home plate gets a little wider. The umpires think a lot like we do occasionally.
Ramon Armendariz. Freeze and Salas. Salas puts it away near the line.
There's a redeemer. That's a pretty tough play with the high sky, bright sunshine, and a ball drifting toward the line. He was able to make the play. Now he goes home very happy. Not quite as happy as me, but very happy.
Oh,
there's a redeemer. You have been forgiven, my son.
Especially if they go on to score 6.
They're not going to score 6 off the way Wirtz is throwing right now. This guy might not give up 6 runs the first month of the season.
Swing and a miss from Stinnett. Wirtz ahead 1-2. Diamondbacks down to their final strike. Here's a 1-2. Roller to short. Cedeno picks it up. Over to first. Freeze holds the bag, and that's it. And the Cubs pick up a win here in Tucson. Our final score: the Cubs 11, the Diamondbacks 6. Stay tuned. Billiards next on ESPN2. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Steve Stone, Rick Sutcliffe, and Gary Miller, I'm John Shambi. So long from Arizona.
ESPN2's Game Room is served up by Hungry Man.
Over the course of one of the great rivalries in all of sports, 2 women have proven that they have their own elite space at the top of the heap. Women's Championship 9-ball hasn't been the same since Allison Fisher and Karen Cord decided to come to America. And now they find themselves once again in the middle of a classic battle for the #1 ranking in the world. Allison Fisher, the current number 1, who with a win widens a narrow margin. Karen Corr, the hungry number 2, who with a win will take over the most coveted position in the sport. Join us for another epic chapter in sports' longest-running confrontation. It's Champions Time at the Brunswick Billiards Midwest Classic. It's the finals of the Brunswick Billiards Midwest Classic, presented by the American Pool Players Association. Loud enough in here. We're at the Paradise Hotel Casino in East Peoria, Illinois. Welcome, everybody, inside with a bunch of rabid pool fans here to see the best players in the world. Mitch Lawrence, along with the number 2 ranked Irish invader Karen Corr. And Karen, I know you haven't thought about this at all, but were you to win this match against your opponent over there, you will regain the number 1 ranking in the world. How does that make you feel?
What do you reckon of that then?
Oh, really?
That's quite exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and you look terribly excited.
Oh, I tell you, I got the whole of Ireland behind me, and me mammy's wishing me good luck. So I tell you, I'll be all right there.
All right, we're going to have a word with the number 1 ranked Allison Fisher. She's over there with the striking Viking, Ava Mattia Lawrence.
Thanks, Mitch. Well, the Duchess, I know, was ready for this fight, and if Karen wants number 1, she's not going to take it easily from Allie.
Well, you know, I never knew that till you said that, thanks. Put a bit of pressure on us. But, you know, Karen and me, I think it's going to go back and forth for a few years yet. There's a lot of fight in us. She's a great competitor. So we're ready to duke it out for that beautiful trophy over there.
Both players with a lot of